Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Chirp. Today I have with me Huma Mubin, who has some amazing achievements. She has actually won over 300 awards for creative and marketing, and she has also received a Cannes Lions Gold Award as well. So she has had some wonderful achievements. So today I'm talking to her about her personal and professional journey and discussing how it went. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for making out the time to do this with me. It means a lot. So Huma, let's talk about your journey. Okay, I like to explore your personal and professional journey both. I know you've done some great things. So I want to understand, like, where were you actually born and raised? Have you been in Lahore always?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
I was born in Lahore. My dad is a bureaucrat. So
Okay.
he was in railways. So idhar udhar wo jo hota hai. Any government officers, kids would understand that. So I was born in Lahore, but then we moved to Karachi. Usse pehle Hyderabad mein pit stop tha. And then we moved in Karachi for 8 years almost. And then we came back. So we were uprooted from Karachi about, I think I must be 12, 13. And came back here. That was really hard. That was like Karachi and Lahore. Up to there's a lot of intermingling going on between Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad. But उस time पे जब हम लोग आए थे, we hated Lahore like anything. We were crying. We were properly depressed. So here and there, everywhere, which sort of did help me in my career as well. But I would say now Lahore is my base. But Karachi has my heart.
Ever since then, you've been in Lahore?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you not like Lahore at all?
It was a weird cultural shift, honestly. Karachi, we had all our cousins and everyone over there. And all of a sudden, I think you can relate to it now that when you move to a place and you don't, and उस time पे social media भी नहीं था, कुछ भी नहीं था. I think Facebook भी तब तक नहीं आया था. So coming to this area, and then, you know, there was a lot of cultural shock for me and my family. I remember कि हम लोग we were in a rest house for the time being, railway के होते हैं, तो me and my mom were like चलो बाहर ना ऐसे ही घूम कर आते हैं. और हम गए और फालसे वाला था उस टाइम में, नए नए फालसे आए हुए थे. तो लाइक अच्छा कितने के हैं? तो कहते हैं 3 रुपये पाव. मैंने कहा 3 रुपये के पाव दे रहा है ये? जो मम्मी 2-3 ले लेते, फालसे का जूस भी बनाएंगे, ये एवरीथिंग फालसा ना. हमने उसके कोई 2-3 किलो लिए. एंड देन वी लाइक कि अच्छा ये लो, कोई 10-20 रुपये 50 रुपये उसको दे रहे थे, बाकी रख भी लो. उसने कहा 3 रुपये, लाइक it's 30. So we need to learn a lot of stuff over here. School mein because we didn't know anyone, so we got into Customs Public School, which wasn't coming from Karachi. We were in Generations, which was my mom's cousin's school. And from here idhar aake usme aana, and wasn't such a good school. Like their standards were a bit like आप हाथ उठा के अगर इंग्लिश में बात करे तो they were students looking back at you कि हो इंग्लिश में बात करी. We'd be like what? So my sister had to go through, as a first child, go through the experiment. But somehow I think मुझे convent में हुआ, and I spoke to the sister over there. So she's like, oh, we don't have space, but your daughter has passed, we can't keep her. And at that time, I don't know, my dad was sitting with me, and some reason मैंने खुद ही उसको बोल दिया कि listen, I came from Karachi. And my dad had absolutely no idea कि कौन से school में डाले, and I am not where I'm supposed to be in that school. So just because I had that power to tell her, like she was the principal of Sister Mercedes Ni, and you know, she was like, okay, you know what, you can take the form and she can get enrolled. So my dad still says that I have no idea where that confidence came from, but she told her story and it served her a place in convent. So yeah.
So you're a conventarian?
Yes, sadly.
Why?
Yeah, I saw a lot of politics at play.
Okay.
There was a lot of ye Karachi wali hai. I was dark in a sea of very white-haired Punjabi girls. There was a lot of donations बहुत देते थे वो लोग.
ठीक है.
And we had just moved. And as a government officer, we were not that financially stable. And I remember I had gone silently to my class teacher. वो Mrs. Braganza नहीं है, कुछ होता वैसी थी वो Miss Shanze. She was a really hot teacher, like Santro drive करती थी अपनी, like she was pretty cool. So I slowly, silently went to her and I was like, hey, you know what, Miss Shanze, you know, I can't afford it to give these donations weekly or daily. और वो डब्बा गुजरता था और सब देखते थे कि कितने पैसे जा रहे हैं and all of that. So I told her I can't do it, so please kindly consider my case. And it's just sad. She could have broken me. I wouldn't have been the person that I am, but I don't know. God is, I think, there for you.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, एक तो वो जो ऊपर से नीचे देखने वाला होता है ना, to bring someone down to their place, like, looked at me up and down. She's like, class, don't take the donation from Miss Huma Mobeen because, you know, she cannot afford it. And I'm like, you're a teacher. And then, you know, things happened which were supposed to happen in convent, like आपको respectful होना पड़ता है, which I like and everything. सबके एक bags होते, which is amazing. But when I graduated, when I left convent and analytical skills समझ आए, I sit with my conventarian friends and I'm like, how can we ignore the fact that one of the most chirpiest girls, one of the most charming girls, who wasn't good in her studies but she was popular, she was the captain. And she probably failed in one of her exams. And then in front of the entire school assembly, you call her and you strip her of her badges, जैसे कोई वो आर्मी में नहीं करते वाला
कोर्ट मार्शल
टाइप वो कर रहे थे उसके साथ. And हम ना, we have sat together as conventarians, where is she, और वो कहीं randomly आपको Facebook पे ऐड करेगी, कहीं एक जगह पास होगी. But that girl, literally the most charming girl that I've ever met, disappeared because of this kind of thing. There was always that English A or English B था. So English A was people who could, you know, speak fluently and everything without realizing हम पाकिस्तानी, हमारी मादरी ज़बान है ही नहीं English, right? But आप क्लास में आके बोलते कि नहीं ये लोग English B के लिए जाएंगे उठ के. And English B is Urdu English, वो like easy English.
Yeah.
So you're differentiating the class के इनको English नहीं आती, or these are the girls who. So can you imagine, you have a kid now, would you ever put your kid in this system?
No. My God.
So हमारी एक दो दोस्तों ने डाला है अपनी बच्चियों को, and they have their reasons, and I respect that कि यार, you know, we don't have to buy Elsa के bags और ये वाला,
which is also a really good thing, to be honest, in this day.
But if these things aren't going to get registered, I would never be comfortable sending my daughter. All the respect, sikhana, and, you know, punctuality and discipline was pretty much there. But these were some things which I realized, oh no, this is gonna break my daughters. Like,
I mean, they're teaching it, but then they're also like teaching it in a very like वही बात है, उसी तरह से सिखा रहे हैं, with a lot of shame, right? If you make a mistake or if you're वो, so they're creating a lot of shame in those girls and मतलब humiliate करके सिखा रहे हैं. That's no way of teaching. Humiliation के साथ सिखाना नहीं
exactly होता. वो एक तरीका था जो खत्म. I thought take now part of learning is failure is very important. If my child cries, I'll let her cry, and then I'm like, थोड़ा सा bullying incident होता है, कुछ होता है उसका. So you know, she gets upset, and I'm like, it's very good you're getting upset. That means तुम्हें बुरा लग रहा है कि जो तुमने किया वो सही नहीं था, but you learn from this ना. गलत आ रहा है ना, गलत feeling, डर लग रहा है, रोना आ रहा है, that's a bad time, and that's also good. Right. It's part of life. Learn from it.
Yeah.
So you can be. अगर हम बच्चों को यही सिखाते रहेंगे कि सब कुछ अच्छा होता है, once you fall down, you know, we'll dug a grave and put you in it. तो फिर what are you teaching them about life?
Yeah,
it's always going to be uphill.
No, and you're also teaching them that mistakes and failures are not acceptable.
Yeah.
Imagine feeling like that when you're growing up. मतलब और यही होता है कि you know, बच्चे that end up committing suicide, अल्लाह माफ़ करे, because of the pressure of पढ़ाई and all of these things, क्योंकि उनके जहन में बचपन से यही होता है that if we make a mistake or if we fail once, तो फिर क्या रह गया? That's the end of life.
We've grown up in somewhat the same age bracket, and for us to not take that failure ke hai mitti pe gayi, you know, wala scene hai, to be like, or you know what, it's a dark time, I'll get out of it.
Yeah.
I'll get out of it, don't worry. So can you imagine the self-awareness we had to make for ourselves without the help of our parents, and be aware of the fact that ye ho raha hai, and then not passing it on to the
our
next
kids.
generation is a lot on us, but
It's a lot of work that we have to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
to stop the generational trauma that's happening.
Yeah, that's true. So, what did you want to be growing up? What was it that you aspired to be?
I'd be the most lay person. Like, I'm the lamest person. I had no aspirations as per se. Honestly, I could say the most I was कि मुझे हैरी पॉटर की दुनिया में जाना है, या मुझे था कि I need to find true love. But it was never कि this is कि astronaut बनूंगी और ये बनूंगी ये वो. There was nothing like that. Honestly, I didn't think at the time I had the abilities. Like, I think any child in our era would be like, मैं next Steve Jobs बनूंगी, जो अब है aspirational value कि I can be the next, you know, Steve
You weren't
Jobs.
dreaming, you know.
Yeah. I was dreaming of love, if I can say that. That's a huge integral part of me. It could also be because I'm the middle child, and there was a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of, you know, not given that space to express my emotions. So I felt that lack of love. Not that I don't want to bash my parents. I keep saying
They do their best.
They did their
Huma.
like we are.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know that we're also going to be making our fair share of like mistakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just some things just happened.
They happened.
Yeah.
And the only difference that at least we will acknowledge and apologize. I
Yeah.
think this is what we've
Yeah,
learned,
for
right?
sure, yeah.
Never look to your boomer parents for closure. I learned it the hard
not
way.
gonna happen.
My therapist had told me, nahi karna, and I did it. So they tried their best. उन्होंने जो सीखा था, उन्होंने अपनी best of abilities पे लेके गया था. Didn't work out, and now it's very difficult कि इस age पे 60s 70s में होंगे हमारे parents से बोलें कि नहीं आपने ये सही नहीं किया था. So they'd be like, you know what, look at where you are right now. Let's leave the childhood trauma. तुम कहाँ पहुँची, हमारी वजह से पहुँची हो. So you're like, okay, you know.
And I also feel like now when they're so old, what's the point of, you know, making them feel this way
Yeah,
as well, right?
yeah.
Like, you know,
क्या
कितना
करना,
time
हाँ,
रह गया.
exactly.
हाँ, so जैसे. Yeah. So then, so what did you end up doing your bachelor's in, and then why did you choose that, whatever you did?
अच्छा, so convent में because I wasn't that good in studies, और वो ना belief था कि मैं बहुत अच्छी हूँ. I by default वो था कि again class system, कि अगर आपके अच्छे numbers नहीं आए आप metric system में जाओगे. So medium आपके अगर roll number marks थे, then you go into Cambridge Arts. And अगर आप top के हो तो आप Cambridge Science में जा रहे हो. So there was no choice कि I want to do arts, yeah, I don't want to do Cambridge, I want to do metric. It was like आप बुरे हो, आप metric में हो, आप okay हो, आप arts में हो.
That's crazy. Uff.
Choice ही
क्या
नहीं,
था
yeah.
school system यार. अच्छा है, हाँ, ठीक है.
So I ended up in arts. It wasn't really, and my parents are not artistic. My entire family is not artistic. Like दूर तक किसी को आर्ट नहीं छू के गया होगा. तो यार गई हो माँ तुम तो मतलब आर्ट्स फाइन आर्ट्स. So we had a really good teacher who was my class fellow's elder sister as well. She was a gold medalist, Ma'am Kamronessa. And you know हम 6-7 लड़कियाँ थे, and we were not even sure what art is, but वो कुछ ना कुछ सिखाती, लाइक 6-6 घंटे के स्टूडियोज़ होना. और हम लोग सिर्फ ड्राइंग करना, और बाकी की दोस्तें कह रही कि हाँ तुम लोग तो मज़े है सिर्फ ड्राइंग कर रहे हो 6 घंटे बैठ के. But it was a little stressful, but she was the first person I think in my life who believed I had a future in arts. She made me sit down and she's like ये गुलाब है इतना सा था, she's like इसको इतना बड़ा बनाना है और बस बनाओ. And my issue was I was so scared because she had learned art. So I used to paint with watercolor. तो मैं पानी बहुत डालती थी, हार्डली पेंट होता था, पानी बहुत होता था. तो she gave me इस कैप की बॉटल में ही पानी दिया. She's like this is all the water you're gonna get. You're scared to put paint in. Do it. करो तो सही. So I do that. सब कुछ हो गया. 2-3 क्लासेस लगी, लाइक 6 घंटे 18 घंटे का मैंने एक गुलाब बनाया. And then I saw it and she's like, now go take a walk and come back. And took a walk, came back and like, whose flower is that? And she's like, that's yours. I'm like, I can't make that. I can't make that. Please, aapne bana ke rakh diya apna. She's like, no, this is yours. This is your ability. This is what you can achieve if you put your mind and heart and someone believed in you. So तब मुझे हुआ था, और तब कॉलेज जीन्स भी नया नया आया था, यू नो, ये सारे फैसल कुरैशी और सब होते थे, आयशा उमर उसमें, तो हम लोग हंसते थे कि हाँ हम भी एक दिन NCA जाएंगे. It was a very cool college, you know, like that. So it was a joke, it wasn't serious. So I left O levels and I got 2 A's, 5 B's, 1 C, which still was like, oh, yaar, kar liya. And then I went to LGS Defense, which was the most bougiest of the branches. Pata hoga. Main nahi lagti na LGS ki. I take that as a badge of honor. So I went there and my sister was like, nahi usme jana hai, you know, this thing matters. And now in hindsight I see that schooling is all about networking, honestly. Nobody remembers your grades or anything.
Yes.
आपके दोस्त कहाँ पहुँचे हैं, किधर हैं, they help you, you help them. That is what it is.
Yeah, that's what my husband says कि ये इन चीज़ों की वजह से जो proximity होती है ना आपकी, जो access आपको हो जाता है, जो network हो जाता है, it's basically that. Yeah.
So LGS में again there were bluebird you know, grammarians who lived their life and I had good terms with them, hello hi, लेकिन आप फिर भी ना थोड़ा सा कि I'm in the shadow, and I say that proudly. I was a loser in convent, I was a loser in LGS, but I made a really good group of friends in LGS who were like distinction holders. You know, वो वाला माँ बाप का ना कि अच्छे पढ़े लिखे दोस्तों के साथ दोस्ती करो. And for some reason during A levels I ended up so my sister was like, arts में कोई future नहीं है,
ठीक है,
and आप जो है ना sociology, business, economics ये करेंगे आप. I was like, fine. उस टाइम पे ना awareness थी ना कुछ था. I was like, okay, I'll do that. I ended up getting straight A's. And उस टाइम पे
that's amazing because लोगों के O levels में A's आ जाते हैं, A levels में नहीं आते.
And I was मैं तो थी कि यार मेहनत की है तो आना तो चाहिए. सबसे ज़्यादा शौक मेरे माँ बाप थे. अभी भी आई टोल्ड हर टू, अम्मी वो घर से जो है ना कमरे से मेरे निकाल दीजिएगा. चीज़ें तुम्हारे 96% आता. लाइक आई मीन व्हाट विल इट टेक फॉर यू टू एडमिट दैट आई एम इंटेलिजेंट एंड आई हैव द एबिलिटीज. सो उसमें स्ट्रेट एज आए. फिर देन लम्स का मैंने मिस कर दिया था. एवरीवन वांटेड टू गो टू लम्स, आई डिडंट गो. Then I went to LSE, Lahore School of Economics, because my sister was there. I was like, चलो यहाँ चल लेते हैं और
economics में गया.
Yeah, like कोई banking की job मिल जाएगी या कुछ. इतना career oriented मैं तब भी नहीं थी. And sooner one of the everywhere I got really interesting people who truly believed in me, and I was like, me? Are you talking to me? Like, मैं? Are you sure? Like any other girl growing up, you won't think that अगर तुम्हें कोई बताता when you were young कि this is what you're gonna do, like there's going to be like so many people who are going to follow you and be crazy about you and get inspired by you, and you're going to make this amazing podcast, and you know you'll be inviting all these women and hearing their inspirations. So you would have believed that.
No.
So we grew up very humble.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for us now. So नहीं था ना उस टाइम पे. तो भाई LSE में गए, वहाँ पे एक टीचर थी शुबाला चौधरी. I don't know if she's there or not. She's very funny, and कॉलेज की टफ टीचर्स जिनको लड़कों का भी होता है, तुम इधर बैठो, तुम इधर बैठो, और तुम लड़कियाँ इधर आके बैठो, वो वाली थी. So I was not an economist. I don't consider myself, but she started seeing me so much कि वो एग्ज़ाम पेपर में मुझे अपने साथ बिठाती थी और वही एग्ज़ाम पेपर मार्क कर रही होती थी. एंड शी लाइक, यू सिट हियर, यू डू योर एग्ज़ाम पेपर, देन यू गो, यू नॉट सिटिंग विद देम. इन सब के मार्क्स 10-20 के. एंड आई वाज लाइक, अच्छा, आई डिडंट इवन एट दैट टाइम ना वो नहीं रिकग्निशन मिली कि अच्छा मैंने कुछ किया. सो my sister was in another campus, I was in another campus, and my sister was a very, you know, first child, you know, shalwar kameez and all of that. And I was the rebellious one.
That's so typical of first and second child. I've seen it so many times.
I think we should all write a book on that. So I was the rebellious one. I was literally the black sheep of the family. Literal. Because sab gore the. So it was just me and this other cousin.
Literal. Okay.
We were. Like, I didn't feel comfortable in what they were trying to stereotype me into, you know, like... so Nida ka tha ki, you know, if you're going to LSE, you dress in a certain way, and, you know, do shalwar kameez. I didn't feel myself. It wasn't like I was a petite girl. It wasn't like I was voluptuous. No offense to those women, but there was no like उस तरह का कोई sexy वाला नहीं था. I just wasn't comfortable in Shilwar Kameez. I never have been. So I went for my NCA test randomly. My friend said मैं सईद साहब से क्लास लेनी, तुमने लेना है? ले लो, ये भी ले लेते, इस पे कौन सी बात है. And I started taking the classes और मेरा domicile Sindh का था, so I had to go to Karachi. तो मैंने application लिखी और मैं चली गई. तो Shumaila Chaudhary was sitting in my sister's class, and we hadn't told anyone that we're sisters, by the way, for some reason. I don't know why. I think Nida wanted to test the waters before she was like, हाँ ये मेरी बहन है, you know. And she was in Nida's class, and she's like, Nida Mobeen, where's your sister? And Nida is like a solid student, like straight A student, and she's like कि किसी टीचर ने मुझे इस तरह डांट के बुलाया, मेरी बहन की वजह से इसी ने कुछ किया होगा, you know. So she got up and she's like, oh, you know, she's on a holiday. She's like, I know she's gone for her NCA test. You better tell her she's a born economist. She doesn't need to go to NCA. And the entire class, because my sister is a straight A student, right? So the entire class turned and looked at Nida के अगर तुम ये हो, तुम्हारी बहन क्या चीज़ है कि शुमाइला चौधरी ये बात कर रही है.
So interesting.
So I wasn't into economics at all, but I was like, when my sister told me that, I was like, okay, I can still do LSE. And so I ended up going to NCA, thoda sa late tha.
Okay.
And again, the field that I chose was something that my friend had. क्या communication design है? Okay, maybe communication design कर लेती हूँ. She didn't get in. I went in, and I was like, okay, what exactly is communication design right now? So they have first year is foundation year, and honestly, in my life, there was the first time I felt safe and I was at home. I was crazy, I was rebellious, I was weird. And there were people surrounding me that were more weirder than me. And I loved that. मैं कहती हूँ Harry Potter के लिए Hogwarts था, मेरे लिए NCA था. It gave me that grooming, those friendships, that space to really be myself. और ये नहीं कि हमारे पेरेंट्स को मसले क्या होते थे, NCA में ड्रग्स होते हैं, बॉयफ्रेंड्स हो जाएंगे, यही होता था. Nothing. I didn't smoke a single cigarette during NCA. Now उसमें we were high on our own
life.
Yeah, creativity and just life and just having fun and, you know, just breaking into a dance in the middle of the courtyard, or, you know, रात को बैठे हुए वो लाइमस्टोन के वो रगड़ते बैठे और गाने गा रहे हैं घर में. मतलब it was crazy. And the funniest thing is my parents were like कि तुमने तो हंसते खेलते NCA गुजार दिया. I was like, ठीक है, हंसते खेलते गुजार दिया. I don't care. Like I found, and I owe it to my sister because she took the decision for me for my career a lot of times. She's like, go to NCA, matters a lot. So that's been my journey so far. Crazy.
Yeah.
कभी alignment नहीं थी कि यही करना है.
हाँ.
Life had its own, you know, कुछ ना कुछ होता ही गया, कोई ना कोई मिलता गया, चलो ये करते हैं, हाँ चलो ये भी कर देते हैं.
So then marketing कहाँ से आई?
Okay, so communication design is very open-ended.
ठीक है.
और मैंने पढ़ा ही ऐसा था कि भाई आप मैगज़ीन भी डिज़ाइन कर सकते हो, आप पोस्टर भी डिज़ाइन कर सकते हो, आप कोई क्रिएटिव मतलब कंसेप्चुअल इंटेलेक्चुअल चीज़ भी डिज़ाइन कर सकते हो. यू कैन डू अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ विद इट. सो द फर्स्ट ईयर आई एक्सपेरिमेंटेड अ लॉट. आई वाज लाइक ओके, आई वांट टू get into publication design because I want to see that. I want to get into gaming design to see that. So I was doing all of these things just to understand where I would be like, I'd be like excited about this. Again, I didn't do it with the intention कि यार मुझे excitement चाहिए life में और I should be passionate about it. It was just like, what would I be comfortable with? My first job was Farek 4, which was an advertising agency. And I'm still in touch with those owners. उन्होंने start ही किया था और मैं और एक BNU का लड़का था, हम दोनों थे जो hire हुए थे, उनके first employees. And we would मेट्रो का एक उन्होंने बोला था कि भाई ईद कैंपेन करना है. एंड वी लाइक थिंकिंग अच्छा क्या करना है. सो आई प्रपोज द आइडिया कि यू नो Santa Claus and Christmas is so marketed like crazy and we get excited. It's not even a part of our culture or religion. So why not we make Eid something like that, you know, the Eidis and the gifts. So we developed Chanda Mamu basically. as Santa
cute.
Claus. Okay, he's going to be a guy in a dadi, not creepy, which it has gotten now, but someone who had like gifts in his bags going around in metro and giving these gifts to kids and everything. And we name it Chanda Mamu because आप चांद देख के ही Eid announce करते हैं.
Yeah.
And we launched that campaign, and that's when I felt कि यार ये कुछ मजे का. I like this. I like what I did over here.
Yeah. And marketing is all about creativity, right?
Yeah,
You had that.
It's about connections, honestly. के अच्छा ये अभी जो मैंने explain किया Santa Claus, चंदा मामू, let's make it Santa Claus को culturally relevant बनाना है, चंदा मामू बना दो.
सही, yeah. True.
And the funny thing was कि I was sitting, I had gone to Karachi for a shoot, and one of my really good friends now, and also a client, Food Panda की marketing manager थी एक one time, and now she's an Easy Paisa, so she was also in the hotel. तो I was like अच्छा मैं आ रही हूँ तुम्हारे पास, बैठते हैं गप्पे मारते हैं. 2 बजे बैठे थे हम लोग, बातें कर रहे हैं, bashing meals and in the industry and all of that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, my first campaign was Metro ka Chanda Mamu. She's like, oh my god, that was my first campaign. I was on the brand side. So I was like, oh shit, like that. See, we're meant to be Rifa, So it all came around in a full circle. So that's when I knew कि इसमें घुसा जा सकता है कुछ, मजा आएगा इसमें.
सही है. So then when you discovered कि अच्छा marketing is interesting, this is something you want to do, what were the next steps that you wanted to take? Did you want to do your own thing? Actually, no. I want to ask you at this point. मुझे एकदम से याद आया.
Yeah.
What happened to your dream of finding love?
Yeah. क्या मैं बोलूँ? आज तक ढूंढ रही हूँ. यार, finding love वो भी दायरे में रह के like boyfriends नहीं and calls नहीं होनी चाहिए, ये है वो है. My honestly first relationship was in NCA, was a senior. In hindsight, I think it was a really good friendship but he was attracted to, and he told me, and I was like, this is not gonna happen, honestly. And then eventually, because you're spending time and everything, I was like, okay, you know what, let's date, let's see where this goes. And that relationship lasted for 3 years. It wasn't meant to be because we were very different people. I'm more of a go-getter. I started realizing he's a bit of a laid-back person. So that didn't work out. I was like, okay, cool. Is done, is gone. Then I did have a fling sort of a thing with a guy who was based in Karachi. He helped me. It wasn't like we were ever girlfriend boyfriend, but there was this spark, and courting period wala jo scene hota hai. So he did give me a bit of confidence. I'm sad to say that there was a man behind that confidence, but like he would say, oh, you look pretty. I was like, me? No. Yeah, मैं कहाँ ये वो. Then it made me sit, and he's like, Huma, when somebody gives you a compliment, you look pretty, you're insulting the other person. And that's when I was like, कि हमें तो सिखाया गया है कि कभी compliment लो ही नहीं. You don't deserve compliments. In fact, हमारे parents तो दूसरों के सामने बैठ के आपको ही रोन देते थे. मतलब आपके पेरेंट्स के फ्रेंड्स आते थे, कहते थे यार कितना अच्छा है इसने ये किया वो किया. नहीं, उनको लगता था दैट्स रिस्पेक्टफुल.
बेसिकली हमें जो लेसन्स इन हम्बलिंग और मॉडेस्टी थे ना, वो बड़े फ्लॉड थे. उसका ये मतलब था कि अपनी सेल्फ वर्थ और सेल्फ लव को ख़त्म कर दो. That's not what being humble or modest is, to be honest.
Yeah.
वो ह्यूमिलिटी को उन्होंने कुछ और ही डायरेक्शन दे दी.
हाँ, like compromise करो. Up we challenge these norms. के no humbleness. Like I go for my NCA lectures. जब मैंने अपने आप को introduce किया, मैंने कि Google me right now. Like I didn't prepare any slides. I was like, I've done this, done this. और अगर आपको लग रहा है मैं हाँक रही हूँ, मैं हाँकूंगी. I am surviving as a female person in a male-dominated industry, and I've done a lot. So I'm not going to be humble about it. And that's my intro to everything. No, women should stop being humble. I think that's about time. So humbleness वाली बात आ गई, सब कुछ आ गया. अब उसमें हुआ ये था आफ्टर मार्केटिंग में कि there was Ogilvy is one of the top agencies. वहाँ पे एक ओपनिंग आई थी, वो थी ग्राफिक डिज़ाइनर की. I wasn't into designing. I couldn't.
Okay.
Like I know, बट मेरा नहीं था उसमें ना पैशन. तो I was like, अच्छा, I'll put the foot in the door and then I'll go into the creative side. But 1 month in, I was like, this is not my thing. I can't do it. So meanwhile, I was talking about this guy who was giving me this confidence, and then eventually we drifted apart, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to waste my energies into something that's not going to happen into something, so I'm just going to back out of it. And he respected that. अल्लाह का शुक्र, वो टाइम भी ऐसे अच्छे थे कि कुछ समझदार लड़के भी थे उस टाइम पे. Then came a very whirlwind of romance where वो जो था ना, जो मुझे चाहिए प्यार, वो मिला था. That was my last ex-boyfriend. So I've had only 2 or 3 relationships, if I can say that. And he was one of my NCA friends acquaintance, and वो उसको बार बार बोलता रहता था कि who's this girl, you know. उसमें Facebook पे ही होता था ना, friend request, poke मिल गया ये वो. So I was in relationship with my NCA boyfriend at that time, and then I got single, and then she was like, oh, you know, this guy's kind of asking about you, and what do you think? वो कराची का था, तो मैं तो ये excited हो गई, कराची वाला, you know, I don't feel that with Lahori boys, I'm gonna go for कराची वाला. That was an insane, that relationship lasted for 5 months, but it was insane. Like, I don't know if it, अब मैं पढ़ रही हूँ, love bombing एक कोई चीज़ होती है, you know. I think I saw the only good part of it. But it was literally like, it was long distance. We started talking a week later. He's like, oh, you know, would you be my girlfriend? I was like, okay, this is fast, but when it's meant to happen, it's happening. I wanted this, I'm getting this, I'm okay. A week later, then 2 weeks later, he came to Lahore. We met for the first time. We hung out. I took him to NCA, proposed to me. Then his mom called me. Then his mom called my mom. And,
very fast.
Very fast, na? Ab aap bolo red flags. Us time pe aap bolo, yaar, yahi. Life mein yahi mangta, mil gaya Allah Ta'ala.
Sahi baat hai, aise hi tha.
We weren't into all of that. So then it became like unofficial si haan bhi ho gaye. So then my parents were meeting. So there was some issue between the families that happened.
Okay.
My parents were 100% into it. I think his mother may have been, may not have been, I don't know. And I was, the way that 5-month relationship was, like, I'd wake up, he'd call me. I'd go to sleep, he'd call me. Oh, I was missing you, I've sent you a couple of gifts. So flowers are, matlab, you know, Karan Johar movie chal rahi hai. So it was like, and I was glowing and I was happy, and my friends were pulling me down, you need to think about this. How is this happening? This guy just comes randomly and is love bombing you, and you're okay with it. I was like, jealous हो रही है और कुछ भी नहीं है ना, वो दिमाग में यही था. Love और यही है, यही मेरी लाइफ का हीरो और यही सब कुछ है, and we're figuring out plans for future, शादी के dresses and stuff like that. But the only thing I have from him is that he didn't end it on a good note. Like, when shit started hitting the fan, he wouldn't confront it. वो non-confrontational boys जो होते हैं ना, वो वाला scene था. And from him calling every second of the day to becoming, hey, where are you, and not getting a reply. So it was ghosting. Now that I know it, it was ghosting.
From love bombing to ghosting.
Because I don't know what the issue was. So that happened, and then out of the blue, I have huge respect for women when it comes to at least playing it on the women, supporting other women. It was her friend, his friend, right? She called me, and she was an acquaintance. She's like, Huma, you know, I ran into him and I asked him how you were, and he said, oh, guess what? I'm single. And I still remember the presence of my mind when I said he wasn't until now. And I blocked and deleted him from everything. I was like, you don't even deserve an ounce of baat karna, sort karna, nothing. Just you don't have the, if I can say, balls to do it, I'll do it for you. I'll break it off. And that was the worst thing. I had like a nervous breakdown, and I didn't know, like, I shattered completely, you know. I had put someone above me and broken down, and I would cry on namaz कि अल्लाह ताला मेरे साथ क्यों किया, मैंने क्या, किसका क्या बिगाड़ा था, मैं तो दिल से हर किसी का अच्छा करती थी. You know, those times where you're so lost कि कोई भी एक रीजनिंग मिल जाए. बट मेरा एटलीस्ट ये था कि इससे तो नहीं पूछूंगी. Like, वो relapse भी नहीं आया. Like, I'm never gonna talk. I'm done.
Like, this hurts. I know this hurts, but I'm done with this. I don't want that. Just because this hurts doesn't mean I want to go back.
I don't know. You know, like, वो sister Mercedes के साथ जो एक बात हुई थी, और फिर यहाँ पे मैंने उसको बोल दिया, मैंने कि उसको बोल दो. it's over for me now. It was just that strength, alhamdulillah, somehow. कहते हैं ना आपके पास strength करते हैं, बस अल्लाह दे देता है कि यार इससे नहीं बात करनी. I'll do whatever I want. I'll cry myself to sleep. I'll end up in a hospital. Whatever. I'm not going to talk to this person. This is my history now. उस टाइम पे बहुत रोई थी कि क्या हुआ है. And I got fired from my job. I was at LGS media coordinator.
Okay.
And I stopped showing because it had broken me down so badly.
Oh no.
So they called me and वो principal भी अच्छी सी थी और उन्होंने बोला कि we've heard that your relationship has ended and everything. So I don't
nice
think, and I don't think you can continue this job. And I was crying and she calmed me down and she's like, there'll be many others.
Oh, so they fired you.
Yeah, they did fire me because they were like, "आप नहीं कर सकती हैं." And I was like, "I understand.
Okay.
I've been not professional because there's a lot going on in my personal life, so I'm just gonna leave."
Okay.
And so I was at bed, and my dad was like, "She needs to work. She needs to get out of the house. This is not right." And my sister visited out of the blue with her little newborn, so distraction भी हो गई. Randomly Facebook message पे एक मेरे ex वो उसका classmate का message है, hey, मैं एक agency में हूँ, they're looking for a creative manager, you want to come? Sure, why not? Like, my life it seemed like a good idea at that time, strung together literally. So I was like, okay, तो वो job लगी और वहाँ पे मेरी LGS की best friend थी, उसने भी join कर लिया. And we started getting them clients.
Okay.
So she was in client servicing, I was in creative.
ठीक है.
And Huawei was a very big brand at that time.
Yeah.
Winning that from big agencies was a huge for this really small agency, Starcrest. And I was the only creative person leading it. There was no creative head, it was creative manager. To the point that I was the one who took Mahira Khan and Imad Irfani for a shoot to Thailand and did it. And Amna, मैंने बताया कि रोते हुए मैंने अल्लाह से पूछा ना ये क्यों हुआ है. There were literally moments in my life that I felt a whisper in my ear say इसलिए. And when I was directing Mahira Khan कि आप इस तरह करेंगे ये वो, I felt that इसलिए. Or when I was signing my nikah papers इसलिए. When I held my daughters on the hospital bed like operation theater में इसलिए. And I was like, yeah, thank you. ठीक है, I get it. I get
your
it.
answers. He literally gave them
you
to
answers.
you.
This is why it never worked out, even though you loved and everything. It wasn't meant for you. It wasn't meant for you. So,
And what you have now is better for you.
oh yeah. Look, love has its own challenge. हमें तो वो रोजी पिक्चर मिली थी ना 5 महीने की. It's unfair to compare that rosy picture of a decade of love with and raising 2 kids with my husband because वो 5 महीने तो 5 साल भी नहीं last करती. Arslan's like, I was like, yeah, you're right, And when that ended and I started doing this Huawei thing and everything, Arslan started approaching me, and Arslan's brother and my brother have been best friends forever. Funnily, I didn't know he was Altamish's brother. He didn't know I was Misbah's sister.
Okay.
So he was like, and we were talking and, and our humor matched and everything, and our social circles were the same. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll meet you after this campaign. Okay, after this campaign. 6 mahine ladka hai because I was like, no, not too soon. I gotta get back myself around. So I was literally, वो जो shatter हुए थे ना, मैं अपने आप को build कर रही थी. But love wasn't anywhere near my radar, and I ended up. Then I think first date pe we went to Freddy's, and my tummy was upset and everything, and Arslan says, and I think it runs with a lot of guy friends that I know as well, कि when you know as a guy, you know. The first moment you meet or the first thing, you just know, okay, I can see a future with her.
Okay.
And he saw that. I didn't. I didn't. He was my fling. For the first time, I decided to have a fling.
Yeah, not to take this too seriously.
Seriously, or love or shadi. I ended up popping 2 babies for him. So I'm like, Arslan, हमने game अच्छा खेला. Well played. But
Mashallah.
It was meant to happen. So we dated for 2 years, and this time I was very open to my parents. कि look, I'm dating. Because मैं तो hopeless भी हो गई थी ना अपनी family के लिए, इसकी नहीं होने वाली शादी. ये तो गुजर गई इसकी age. She's 25 plus now. इसने. So when I said I'm dating him and he's Altamaish's brother, so they were like, oh, okay, someone within the family. And our social circle was like, why didn't we think of this? Like, they're so similar. This is meant to happen.
खुद हमने सोचा क्यों नहीं?
Yeah. So, and Arslan was like 3 months later, I'm in love with you. I was like, oh,
ये love bombing नहीं हो सकती मेरे साथ फिर.
अभी नहीं. One time I remember his brother and my brother called me in their room in my own house, and they're like, you dating Arslan? I was like, yeah. We're like, I started. He's like, no, you deserve better than this, and you use him as a rebound. I was like, हाँ, मैं rebound की तरह. I think Arslan even took that as a challenge. कि मुझे rebound use करी बेटा.
मैं दिखाता हूँ.
मेरे बच्चों की माँ बनेगी.
And then he showed you, right?
He did, yeah.
He did win you. Yeah, so and then you were the girl that went on her honeymoon without her husband.
Without him. Oh God, वो उसको Greece.
That made you viral. That made you go viral.
Crazy
हाँ,
viral.
क्या scene हुआ था? I want to know the deets behind that.
Yeah, after engagement, Arslan went to Budapest. And I wanted to go with him. I really did. कि यार चलो अब तो मंगनी भी हो गई, official हो गए. But obviously, हाँ. निकाह नहीं हुआ. निकाह के बाद भी नहीं जाने देते.
हाँ, शादी रुखसती के बाद.
रुखसती के बाद. तो I was like, okay, you go. And I loved Austria and Budapest and everything. तो वहाँ से he sent me a picture like this. Oh, I'm missing you.
Okay. अच्छा.
You think that's all? No, मुझे गुस्सा चढ़ा था कि this doesn't justify the fact that you're traveling alone, you know, like, okay, fine, have fun, but don't give me this, okay, oh, I'm missing you. You're having the ball of your time, you know, doing everything you wanted to do. So I was like, okay, cool. दिल पे लगी थी बात. So we had gone to our honeymoon to Maldives. Okay. And Arslan's family invest a lot in travel, and they said कि Greece का tour आया है. So I had some money stored, and I was like, Arslan, चलते हैं. And Arslan's like, यार अभी तो शादी, you know, finances, everything. I was like, I'll pay for my stuff. You pay for yours, and let's go.
ठीक है.
So we applied, and everything was fine. And Arslan had 3 Schengens from before. Like, he's visited Italy and all of these places. The entire family was scared कि मुझे नहीं मिलेगा, because मैं Thailand गई हुई थी, Maldives, Dubai, all of these places. Nothing European. And I was like, अगर इसका आया तो चला जाएगा. और ये तो और आग लगने वाली बात हो गई. तो I was like, जाके तो दिखाए. अभी तो शादी हुई है, 2-3 महीने हुए हैं. But I got the visa and he didn't. And now my colleagues are like, अब कौन जाएगा? And I'm like, oh, I can't. I still didn't want to go, because 3 months I've just known his family, and I was going with his mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my chacha-in-law, my puppy-in-law, and Arslan's not there. Like, what's the point?
Right. Yeah.
But we had paid, and the travel agent had said कि अब तो पैसे या तो flush कर दें आप. And my mother-in-law was very much like, क्या मतलब है शादी होगी तो उसी के साथ travel करोगी? Like, you should have your own thing. Like, go travel. हम लोग हैं. Do whatever you want. There's nothing. So she was very empowering like that.
That's interesting, वैसे, that she said this.
हाँ, चलो. And in fact, when I went there, I was like, hey, Mama, I can't sleep alone. Like, and she's like, oh, your father-in-law snores a lot. I love it. Let's sleep together. So, and sharing a room with your mother-in-law, so much could have gone wrong. But we worked like clockwork, me and her. And she was really like, I was like, oh, रात में nightlife देखने चलो. Let's go. So she would go with me. The first night I cried a lot. I was like, I can't control my emotions, Mama. I don't know why this happened. Again, like, Allah Ta'ala मेरे साथ क्यों हुआ? Mama, मेरे साथ क्यों हुआ?
And you know, when you're newly married, you're all about spending that time together and making these new memories together, na?
Greece.
Yes. And Greece, yaar, सही बात है.
Or Arslan was very involved in Greek mythology. Like, he read up so much on it and everything, like Zeus or Thor or ये सब मुझे बताते हैं. Yeah, whatever. ये चांद, ये सितारे, मैं कि no, not interested. So वहाँ पे जाके जब ये हुआ तो मैंने फिर Arslan को तस्वीरें भेजी कि अब तुम्हें पता चलेगा कि मेरे ऊपर क्या गुजरी. And sadly he had taken off from his work, his own firm. He wasn't even going to his own office. और घर बैठे प्यारे अफजल देख रहे थे. और उसमें वो तस्वीरें मिल रही थी. And went around everywhere in Greece. एक टाइम पे अब मैं Arslan's family is very art oriented and history, and my mother-in-law has been a director at Al-Hamra Arts Council, and my father-in-law is an interior designer. So इनकी ना बहुत के वो जो बेच रहे थे कि ये आप देख रहे हैं, ये इसका ये है, इसकी स्टोरी ये है, एक लड़का था एक लड़की था और ये वो फलान बाका, मैं पीछे बैठी देख रही हूँ, इनको कैसे पता? Like, you know, I was the cynical one के how? Like 3 पत्थर लगा के उसने इतनी लंबी कहानी खींच दी. हमें क्या पता? And I'm looking, somebody, anyone, please relate to me about this. And I would be messaging Arslan, what the hell? Like, this makes no sense. कि वो लावा आया तो वो मिनोटोर बना तो ये है. It's like, you were at the Minotaur side. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't have gone. Respect the Greek mythology. तो ये सब कुछ, तो उस पे मैं और भी जला रही थी कि ये देखो तस्वीरें, ये देखो. So it became a funny thing between my in-laws, my husband and my friends के. And one of my really good friend was like, इसकी सीरीज बनाओ. I was like, वैसे ही ले रही हूँ, हर जगह जहाँ जा रहे हैं, जिधर जा रहे हैं,
taking that picture.
Yeah. And we came back from the thing, and I just posted a couple of them on Facebook. And one friend of mine reached out to me. She's like, इसको public कर सकते? There's a feminist group I want to share on. And from there, I got contact from BuzzFeed India. And they were the first one to feature me, and then it was
one after the other.
It was overwhelmingly crazy. Like अब लोग बोलते हैं ना viral होना, अब आप you cannot manage it. It's every, like my reception at BBDO was like, आपने क्या किया है? BBC के हर उससे call आ रही है.
You were at BBDO at that time?
Yeah, I was at BBDO. So even they were seeing this unravel. They're like, ये हो क्या रहा है? And even I'm like, यार ये वाकई क्या हो रहा है? And at that time, the viral thing, the virality wasn't such a hit. It was a hit and miss. कि आप कर लो. अब जैसा मार्केटिंग कैंपेन आता है कि वायरल कैंपेन चाहिए, पहले ऐसा नहीं था. सो चाय वाला एक पॉपुलर हुआ था और फिर मैं हुई थी. सो आई बिकेम रियल लाइफ क्वीन. इंडिया बोलना शुरू हो गया था. इंडिया ने ऐसे मोन्टाजेस बनाए जो हमारी शादी की वीडियो से भी इतने अच्छे मैंने कहा कितने अच्छे लग रहे हैं, ये लगा देते हैं. इंडिया, रशिया, everywhere in the world today news पे आ रहा है. My dad had no idea. He's like, ये तुम्हारी हनीमून की पिक्चर जियो पे क्यों चल रही है? I'm like, अब्बू, you don't know what's going on.
You're living under a rock.
What's wrong with you? Locally तो they were like, हाँ ठीक है, whatever, ये हुई है और इसके बारे में. But when everyone in the world started talking about it, that's when Boat Panda, anything, Ashton Kutcher A+ tha, you know, Radio Mirchi, any big Cosmopolitan, everything. And Pepsi was constantly asking me, how did you do this? Like, we spent millions of dollars to achieve this impressions that you're getting, like top Google woman in the world for 10 days on Google search, and then on Twitter you're trending for a week. What's going on? I was like, I have no idea, and I'm enjoying the wave test. Let me be. And then we got approached, and the thing was it wasn't really minting me money, you know, like, or Instagram.
It was just virality and popularity, and
people knew about it. Yeah. They were using me as, मेरे लिए तो ज़्यादा था. I was a really big 9gag fan, so मैं उस पे trending पे चली गई. I was like, yeah. जो digital wing था हमारे, they're like, you're on Huffington Post, so you've made it now. And in my family was, oh, Homa's on Time Magazine. I was like, I'm done now. I'm done for life. This is it. I've done it. So that was where we got contacted by Intercontinental Hotel Group.
Okay.
And they said, we want to send you on a free honeymoon. So... yeah, so I became the woman who went on a honeymoon alone and then took her husband. Sorry. I took her husband to a free honeymoon again.
That is so cute.
So circle में हो गया, खुश हो गए थे मेरे मियाँ कि अच्छा चलो अब जहाँ जाना है बताओ. I will take you. मुझे बताओ ना.
Where did you go then?
We went to Lisbon, Rome, Paris, and
lovely.
Spain.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you got something great out of this.
Yeah. All paid for यार. मुफ्त की trips.
मतलब
मजे की बात है ना. इमेजिन, और आपके ना बच्चे मेरा कुछ है, मन चले, शदीद मन चले, आप बस you're doing whatever you feel like doing. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay, let's get back to your career.
Yeah.
So you were at BBDO when this happened, right? And then what were you doing at BBDO and how long did you stay there? And क्या BBDO की क्या story थी?
Okay, so honestly, after the entire fall happened, and then I was at this firm where I started realizing, oh, Homa, you're capable of doing something. Like if you can direct all these big ass celebrities with, आप ये करें, वो आपसे पूछ रहे हैं, तो दैट मीन्स देयर यू डू हैव समथिंग, थोड़ा सा अपने अंदर एम्पावरमेंट आनी शुरू हो गई थी. एक दो और एजेंसीज में काम किया, एंड आई एट दैट टाइम आई ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड, देयर वाज अ क्लाइंट ऑफ माइन हु सेड आई वांट टू इन्वेस्ट एंड आई वांट यू टू लीड एन एजेंसी. सो आई वाज लाइक ओके कूल, लाइक इट सीम्ड लाइक अ गुड आइडिया एट दैट टाइम. सो आई वाज लाइक हो चलते हैं. वो 3-4 महीने चली, बट इट डिडंट वर्क आउट. वी हैड टू शट दैट आउट. And so eventually I won, and that's at the time Elan was becoming huge.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
और Sapphire में opportunity खुली थी social media head की. So I was like, you know what, I wanna apply and get into this lawn business to understand. उस time पे Khatija Shah was taking care of Sapphire.
ठीक है.
So I went for the interview. I talked to them, and when I left, तो मुझे बाद में बताया था कि Natasha was the marketing head of Sapphire. And Khatija was the creative head of creative director of Sapphire and Elan. They had a fight कि मुझे Elan के लिए चाहिए, मुझे Sapphire के लिए चाहिए. So I was like, okay.
How flattering.
How flattering. Thank you. I want to work with Khatija Shah. It was like huge, yaar. Like this woman who could foresee कि कपड़ा कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँचेगा. When Elan के हम लोग हंसते थे एक टाइम पे कि इतने महंगे कौन खरीदेगा. But you know, she had a vision and she became that, and then others followed
through. Like she really led this. She really led this wave. She did.
Yeah. Truly. So I wanted to learn from her. Okay, this is a woman in power. She's a boss babe. I really want to see how she operates and what. That's when फिर मुझे थोड़ा सा डायरेक्शन आता कि लाइफ में ये मांगता, ये बनना है. I want to be this woman calling the shots and telling men what to do them. Like I just felt that she had a vision. As a woman, you already are very focused, so you know what you want. So I launched Sapphire का जो corner plot पे एक सबसे पहले branch थी, लाहौर में launch हुई थी. तो I was part of the team that launched that and everything. It was a lot of fun. I had applied through BBDO because मुझे पता चला था, but BBDO wasn't what it is now. Impact BBDO था, confusion भी था, ये Impact BBDO, ये BBDO है, क्या है? I would Google it. I didn't know. But then I went for an interview, and before I could even complete my 3 months in Sapphire, I got the job. So I was like, you know what? I'm going for this. I want to see what Pepsi and 7-Up and all of this is all about. And I started working there. एक महीना हुआ नहीं, जो हमारी क्रिएटिव डायरेक्टर थी, शी वॉज लेट गो और शी लेफ्ट हर सेल्फ. एंड उनका सुना ये था कि शी इज़ वन व्हाट मेड कोक व्हाट इट इज़. शी वॉज इन Ogilvy and then she came to BBDO. Again, a very powerful woman. The only thing was she's pretty harsh and rude to her employees. That's what I had heard. And I had talked to my head of department from NCA कि मैं क्या करूँ. And he's like, put your ego aside and learn from her. How is she doing it? और वो एक महीने में ना वो मुझसे रूड नहीं हुई थी, because apparently everyone said कि it was too soon. But I learned how she could sell an idea.
Okay.
मतलब मुझे बैठे हुए बोर्ड रूम में रखता था, हम दुनिया बदल देंगे वाकई साइड, ये रमज़ान कैंपेन से कर देंगे. आइडिया कुछ नहीं था. The way she sold it and the way she was really, if I can say that, a ball busting woman who would be like client आपसे, you worked with clients as blogger collaboration, आपसे कोई ऐसी बात पूछ ले कि आपका कॉन्सेप्ट आगे पीछे होने लगे, तो वो उल्टा क्लाइंट को बोलती थी तुम पागल हो, तुम स्टूपिड हो. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल समवन वुड से कि oh this idea is good but do you think it would work? It's like, what kind of a question is that? Like, I don't understand why you can't even decipher a simple thing. And the client would be like, of course I can decipher a simple thing. Like, okay, let's go with it. So I saw that strategy from her and everything. And महीने बाद ना वो चली गई. अच्छा. और मैं अकेली रह गई थी. Akela creative in BBDO handling Pepsi and non-Pepsi accounts. And I was like, what? I don't even know what 7-Up stands for, what's their brand philosophy, what's going on. But I had a really good mentor as well, Faisal Duran. He was the GM and he's like, you know what? I'm here. We'll figure out, we're getting some ECDs bahar se. Abhi tum karo and I'm here for you. Like, you go about it. So they had a very supportive system. Agencies mein jo usually nahi hota hai. You know, he was like, don't wait more than 6 o'clock. उठो और जाओ, बस यही काम है. So client servicing लोग ये भी करना है, तुमने ये भी, obviously Pepsi handle करना, साथ non Pepsi भी handle करना. तो I would be like, let's go to FD and talk to him, and he'd be like, you know, she's done this, तो अब ये नहीं. So there was we understand you're new and everything, but I got that hands-on experience with everything. I built a rapport with the Pepsi brand managers and everything, and then I was getting married. And so I took a month off for that. And then, you know, all Pepsi ideas, like eventually I had become that go-getter. Like Lay's के जितने भी campaigns होते थे वो global होते थे. This is gonna be the best day of my life. याद है वो वाला जो था? वो globally आते थे.
हाँ ठीक है.
The first time they were launching 3 different flavors, and I said, let's do content marketing. Let's make Ahmed Ali Butt sit, and he interviews Sarwat Gilani, Adnan Malik, and Urva Hukun, and you know, इन लोगों से वो guest करवाता है. Let's make a content, put it on Facebook. इतने confused थे वो लोग, and in the end जो उनकी marketing head थी Binish, I was like, Binish कर देना, क्या होगा?
So this was they were confused because it was a digital campaign. That's why, like, on
they hadn't produced anything locally.
Oh, okay, they hadn't
so
produced
they were.
anything
It was
okay.
uncharted waters.
Okay.
But I was like, Binish कर देना, क्या होगा? ज़्यादा उतार देंगे Facebook से.
सही है.
And she just took a minute and she's like, you know what? You believe in the idea so much, let's do it. I was a very junior resource at that time, and when we did it, it got so big, and that was when Lay started making a lot of local campaigns because they got good results out of that. So but then I got you know, different heads as well, and we started working. और फिर हमें पता चला कि award winning campaigns भी कोई चीज़ होते हैं भाई, chips और बोतल नहीं बेचना. So are you familiar with some work that I've done?
No, but I mean I am, but I would like for you to talk about it yourself.
So as a मैं creative manager थी. मेरे ऊपर creative director आई थी Hira Mohibullah. She had come from Ogilvy.
Okay.
And then we had an ECD who was Ali Rez, who's the top 10 CCOs of the world right now. So these Ali को पता है कि ये idea award भी जीतेगा और impactful भी रहेगा.
ठीक है.
So I can even call him right now कि ये idea है Ali, and he'd be like, okay, you know what, this works, let's collaborate and work on it.
Okay.
उनका वो है strategy. So we were उस time पे lightly beating का एक law आया था, if you remember, that it's okay to lightly beat your wives.
अच्छा.
There was a lot of uproar and everything, and it was us 3 creatives who were women sitting together कि let's work on this, let's do something around this.
Okay.
And I remember कि Hira एकदम से बोलती हैं कि beat me, and I was like हाँ beat me. And she's like, no, we ask men to beat me at the thing that I'm strong at, rather than beating me with your fist.
I
and
remember
everything.
that campaign. It was excellent.
It
campaign.
was-
My God, mind blowing.
But उस पे भी backlash आया था.
वो तो
Which for us marketers, anything is good as long as you're talking about it. We ended up changing the law. They had to rework it. But उस हर campaign में हम ना insights ऐसी औरतों की आ रही थी. हमने एक डिपस्टिक टेस्ट किया था कि भाई बताओ ज़रा कि when is it okay for your husband to beat you, and we asked the husband when is it okay for you to beat your wife. husband के लिए इतनी औरतों की इतनी, मतलब आपको realize, you understand, like internalized misogyny is a term that we widely use now. At that time we didn't know, but we were like, why do women think it's okay for men to beat them? But it's because they grew up seeing their fathers beating or their brothers beating, and they thought कि वो इस चीज़ों पे हो सकता है.
and what they've been taught as well कि ये तो होता है बेटा और ऐसा तो होगा.
Compromise करो.
And then also कि ये हो रहा है क्योंकि तुमने ही कुछ किया है ना.
मैंने ही कुछ किया, मैंने गरम रोटी नहीं दी, मैंने सवाल क्यों पूछा कि आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं रात के 2 बजे, या आप इतनी देर से ऑफिस से क्यों आ रहे हो.
My God.
Each of the campaigns has such insightful stories to tell that एक झटका पड़ता है कि यार ये पाकिस्तान है, हम तो एक बबल में रह रहे हैं.
हाँ, सही बात है.
You know, so we did that started winning awards. One of my biggest was finding 7 missing children through Truck Art Child Finder. But उसमें भी ना हम ना, when I'm sat with Muhammad Ali, who is the only NGO working towards missing children in Pakistan, based in Karachi. His network are pan wale. And when I sat down with him, I had recently just delivered Sivim. Sivim ऊपर baby room में थी, baby room में, and I was sitting with him, and he's like, हुमा आपको पता है कल खुदा न खास्ता आपकी बेटी गुमती है और आप जाके पुलिस वालों को बोले मेरी बेटी गायब हो गई है. वो आपको एक ऐसी पेपर पकड़ा देंगे कि ये FIR है और आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा वो FIR है कि नहीं है, बिकॉज इट्स एन इनकॉग्निबल ऑफेंस. लाइक what does that mean? It's like because there's no law written that this is illegal or this is a crime, a lost child is a crime. And I'm like, then what do you do? It's like you have to go and say that मेरा बच्चा किडनैप हो गया है. मैंने कि मोहम्मद अली साहब उस टाइम पे तो पंखड़े उड़े हुए होंगे औरतों के, माँ बाप के, उनको ये याद रखना पड़ेगा. कहते हैं ये तो करना होगा. और उस पर भी ये है, अगर आप उनको बोले मेरा बच्चा किडनैप होगा, वो सबसे पहले आपको तफ्तीश में लेंगे. सो वो बच्चों का सुनना कि देयर इज़ नो लॉ प्रोटेक्टिंग माई चाइल्ड राइट नाउ वॉज अ हार्ड हिटिंग थिंग. के और यूजली यू नो ज़ैनब का भी केस हुआ, अभी दुआ ज़हरा का केस हुआ. देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ अदर थिंग्स एट प्ले हियर एज वेल. आई एम श्योर यू इवन नो अबाउट दिस. बट इट्स दैट देयर इज़ नो लॉ बीइंग पुश्ड टू प्रोटेक्ट आवर चिल्ड्रन in anything. So that was quite a sad thing, but finding 7 missing children through a campaign that Ali had an idea for, and me going on that अड्डा जहाँ पे इतना कीचड़ था, पानी हुई थी, but I was just doing it कि यार एक बच्चा मिल जाए, एक बच्चे की खबर ही मिल जाए यार. You know you're done for life. But knowing 7 बच्चे आपके मिल गए because you know अली के पास एक आइडिया था, जैन मेरे साथ था, और मैंने मोहम्मद अली से बात की, हम सब ने मिल के ये काम किया. 20 ट्रक निकाले जिसमें से 7 बच्चे मिलना is a huge success ratio.
Yeah,
you know?
100%, yeah, for sure.
But यहाँ पे अभी तक वो मिसिंग चिल्ड्रन की अभी तक कोई NGO नहीं है.
हाँ.
Nobody is petitioning for it. Nobody. We wanted that to be highlighted. कि यार है कि ये NGO को नहीं, गवर्नमेंट का इदारा होना चाहिए. I don't know if they've done that, but when you do such case studies तो आपको रियलाइज़ होता है. ब्राइडल यूनिफॉर्म एक था which was basically कि अली ज़ीशान का शो स्टॉपर हमने एक,
अच्छा, that was you guys?
Yeah, which was a girl in uniform, नथ पहनी हुई वो गई थी, और पीछे से वो मैंने लिखा हुआ था कि weddings are to be celebrated but not all weddings are meant to be celebrated. And you know focus on this, बच्चों की एजुकेशन. बट और सिंध में है कि 18 साल से कम बच्चियों की शादी नहीं हो सकती. पंजाब में they're still in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So doing these things made me feel कि you know मैं जिस फील्ड में हूँ ना, कुछ सोशल इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है. कुछ आ रहा है, कुछ तो मैं सही कर रही हूँ यार, कुछ तो हो रहा है. और BBDO में ना आपको एक अवार्ड्स का व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप था जिसमें आ जाता था, अच्छा ये अवार्ड्स जीते हैं, ये अवार्ड्स जीते हैं, ये मुझे अच्छा ओके नाउ व्हाट. पाकिस्तान में अवार्ड्स का इन माय फील्ड आई डोंट थिंक नोबडी गिव्स a rat's ass, honestly.
That's true.
Yeah. Because abhi bhi, you know, like I say, Cannes Lions is the Oscars of advertising. And उधर जाके मेरी C.Ed B.Ed की जो थी ना, वो कह रही थी तुमने 23 Cannes Lions जीते हैं. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I have the list.
That's amazing, by the way, Huma.
Yeah. So अब मैं कहती हूँ कि कोई भी एडवर्टाइजिंग अवार्ड गूगल करें, कहीं ना कहीं मैंने जीता ही होगा. So BBDO taught me that. And then I was like कि बस हो गई है मेरी, अब कॉर्पोरेट में काम नहीं करना.
ठीक है.
And I left without any backup plan. My mental health was deteriorating really bad. Something I loved doing, I would wake up, I would cry, I would throw up, and my husband couldn't recognize me.
Were you like burnt out? Yeah. What was it?
The top management changed, and because of that, everyone around me was anxious in BBDO, and we were the sort of people who would put in weekends. ये नहीं कि भाई weekends लगाए हमने, नहीं, because weekends लगाए हमने, because there's the project, we have to work on it. Everyone was working in perfect sync. But this guy is a dinosaur person who came and was like नहीं ये नहीं, and he just like मुझसे बात करेंगे मेरे सीनियर से बात करेंगे मेरी. Everyone felt they could get fired any time of the day. So that was quite triggering for me, and everyone was अपनी ना सीट पकड़ के बैठा था rather than enjoying. उस टाइम पे हमने कोई अवार्ड्स भी नहीं जीते, कोई कैंपेन्स भी नहीं किए. Everyone said कि भाई बेर मिनिमम काम करेंगे, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
सही है.
But I decided कि I can't deal with this and I'm done. So literally one day I got up and I emailed कि I've done this for your company, I've done this, I've won these awards, I've given you guys this, I've given you guys business as well. and it's not working. You guys are not taking care of this firm or for the employees, so I'm done with you guys. And मुझे call
So
आई
you
थी.
laid it out there. You put it out there.
इसमें शर्माने की क्या बात है?
सही है.
सबको पता है जो चल रहा है, आप कुछ कर नहीं रहे हो हेड ऑफिस में बैठ के. But Ali Rez called me. He's like, I tried my best, Homa, but you know, there's some things that I can't get, and he as a creative, and for a couple of months मैं घर पे बैठी रही. And that was really tough. I think you'd relate that कि आपकी self worth फिर is the amount you earn every month or the work that you make. What is your self worth when you're sitting at home working all your life?
I think it's because हमने ये किया ना कि हमने अपनी productivity को अपनी self worth से tie कर दिया है. Right? कि अच्छा the more productive we are, the more worthy we are, the more, you know, हमने अब हमारी सारी achievements are tied down to how productive we've been today.
And what do you mean by productive?
Like, you know, what have you done today?
Yeah.
Essentially, that's all what it is.
But the thing is that as mothers, waking up is sometimes so difficult.
Yeah.
You know, or just waking up and, okay, I have to feed the child, to change the diaper, to figure out what I have to eat. That's also productivity. So I had to change my mindset and
the definition of productivity.
Definition of productivity, and I was like, self-worth does not equal my productivity.
Yeah.
That I can enjoy myself guilt-free. मैं कुछ ना करूँ, मैं पड़ी हुई हूँ बिस्तर पे, I should be guilt-free. So I had to train my mind into thinking, stop being hard on yourself. Stop being hard on yourself. And then I had a client who reached out to me for some freelance project. I was like, okay, I'll do it. But they wanted retainer, and then my company was formed. Because I was groomed for 4.5 in BBDO, तो वो दिमाग चलता रहता था कि award winning क्या काम कर सकते हैं.
So how did you decide कि अच्छा now I'm gonna form my company?
They insisted. So the client was like, हमें retainer चाहिए. उन्हें कि अच्छा चलो यार, but I'm not going to make a marketing firm और मैं ads नहीं बनाऊंगी. मुझे content बनाना है. Content is what's going to take you guys forward. Nothing. And we launched their campaign और उनको 75% increase in leads मिली थी. This was an online app for digital committees. उड़ान के लिए था.
अच्छा.
So to convert our mothers to an app was a huge daunting task, but we were able to crack that out, and Allah ka shukr, that got viral. Then we did Bisconi. By the way, foreign pandemic आ गया था. फिर Bisconi की पहली ईद आई थी जब हमारा plane crash भी हुआ था. And we didn't know what to do in pandemic. हम मिलें नहीं मिलें, कपड़े बनाएं नहीं बनाएं, क्या करें.
So weird,
So we launched a Bisconi campaign कि इस बार ईद पहले जैसी होगी. Simple Eid times, like घर पे आप बैठे हो, चाय पी रहे हो, सेवइयाँ खा रहे हो, if you remember. और प्रोडक्शन क्या थी, एक डायरेक्टर और एक प्रोड्यूसर मेरे घर पर आया था. मैंने अपने अब्बू को बुलाया था, अपने ड्राइवर्स को यूज़ किया कि हम हर सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी दिखा रहे. बच्ची मेरी यूज़ हो रही, मियाँ को मैंने यूज़ कराया कि घर में हमने पूरा वो घर की जो एक सेटिंग होती है जो नानी के टाइम की. वी जस्ट वांटेड लॉट नॉस्टैल्जिक फैक्टर टू कम इन कि यू डोंट नीड टू गेट आउट, जस्ट हैव योर फैमिली एंड लव्ड वंस. कपड़े जो भी हैं घर में पहन लो, घर पे ही सेवइयाँ बनाओ, घर पे ही इंजॉय करो. एंड दैट्स ऑल यू नीड टू डू टू एंजॉय दिस ईद. दैट गॉट वायरल. बकरा ईद का एक कैंपेन किया था कि बकरा ईद इज़ ऑल अबाउट शेयरिंग एंड गिविंग. बट हम क्या करते हैं, रान उस बेटी के ससुराल में जाने के लिए ये उसकी ना रान है, ये उधर देना है, ये पप्पो को देना है. And that's not the purpose of Bakra Eid. So we highlighted that, you know, give it to those who it matters. Like, don't keep it कि रान मैंने इधर रखने, निहारी की बोटियाँ यहाँ होंगी, ये होगा. That got viral. So it was just one hit after the other that was just going, and we were on a roll. And then Food Panda reached out to me, so I started doing their campaigns. All of these things just started falling. And for the entire pandemic, I was able to sustain the entire household on my own. So that's what happened.
Yeah, that's incredible. फिर अपनी company बनाई. And then you obviously, like, you must have been coming out of your mental health crisis then, right? Or was it still sort of going on?
It's an ongoing thing.
Of course, like mental health is always kind of up and down.
Anything can trigger you. You should know your triggers. We're living in a very unstable economic times as well. So finances do play a major role in your life. You cannot deny living in Pakistan is easy. So that also plays a major role. Apart from that, there's always the factors that are surrounding the societal factors that we were talking about, the cultural factors that for when I became the highest ranking creative in Pakistan, Arslan, honestly, I'm grateful that he's secure, that he never gets insecure कि इतने awards जीत रही है. My mother, his mother is sharing my posts in group rather than, talking about his achievements and everything. I'm sure it gets to you, but I've been really grateful that he didn't show that. And when I became the highest ranking creative in Pakistan, he was really proud of me. But one friend messaged him कि तेरी बीवी number 1 बन गई, तूने क्या उखाड़ लिया? That tipped him off. And मेरा ये कि I'm very aware of myself and my surroundings. And for 2 days, I was like, what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. I kept bugging him. And then eventually he's like, I think you got pompous. मैं तो humble भी नहीं हूँ. Like, I'm so humble. I don't even, अब तो जाके मैंने barrier break किए हैं. But he admitted कि it's wrong on my part. It's your time to shine. Why am I getting affected by that? But society का कुछ ना कुछ.
The toxic masculinity, surrounding all of this. Yeah. And then someone says something, aapko wo. Yeah, true.
It triggers them. ये थल्ले लगा हुआ है.
थल्ले लगा हुआ है, हाँ.
Like
जोर का गलाम और थल्ले लगना.
Because he's changing his daughter's diapers.
Yeah.
Why? He's just being a good dad.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with me. नहीं करेगा, मैं ही करूँगी यार, मुझे क्या है? But he wants to set that example in front of his daughters that these are the kind of men you should also look for. Yeah. These are the values you should look for.
Yeah.
Saying thalle laga hua hai, Arslan's not a dominant person at all. Mm-hmm. I am.
Yeah.
And it works for us. We're alpha female basically. And it works for us.
Yeah.
And if you're going to say कि भाई thalle laga hua hai and that hits Arslan, I said, take the decisions for a week. Do it, please. I don't want this. You do it. Where are we going? Who are we meeting? What? All these decisions. He failed miserably in 3 days. He's like, please, do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get it, right?
No, like I get it. And and wo jo, things people say, it can, well, when my husband used to help me out in my business and, after he was doing a 9 to 5 tab, and when he would do his 9 to 5, uske baad he would be, helping me with my work. So then people would expect कि अच्छा अब ये गेम खेलेगा हमारे साथ, गेमिंग पे जाएगा या इस तरह करेगा या जो भी करेगा, right? And he would be like, no, I'm helping out my wife in her stuff or in her business. And be like, मजाक उड़ाते थे, कि ये क्या, why are you doing this? Why do you need to do this? Just be a boy's boy and be a man's man.
मत बनो ना.
ना छोड़ो यार. It's our time now. So yeah, I think all of these statements surrounding these boys who are even trying to break free from these stereotypes. Yeah, it's not fair to them.
It's not. They have a lot to deal with.
Yes, and it's a fight they have to fight.
Yeah.
With their own community.
So they were raised to be boys.
Yeah.
And we were raised to be independent, yet be dependent. मेरा वो Barbie वाला theme start हो गया है. We were raised to be independent yet be dependent. We were raised to have a voice but still compromise. We were raised to respect our elders but still take a stand. We are brought up in such confusing state कि आज भी मैं और तुम, if you go to our parents and be like, I'm stuck in this place and I want to do this because my body's saying and my mind is saying and my wisdom is saying that I need to do this, and you'll hear that कि नहीं बेटा compromise कर लो. And you'd be like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah.
Didn't work for my mom. She compromised. आज तक वो, they do talk about it. कि मेरे साथ ये हुआ था, मेरे साथ वो हुआ था. And you're like, I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to end up. I'm not saying if I take a stand, it's badtameezi. It's just me setting boundaries that I will not stand by this. And so for these men to be married to like women like us, it's and they weren't prepared to be married to women like us, and so there's sometimes like, okay, we'll do what you have to say, but kabhi kabar mad bhi jagta hai ki nahi ye nahi hona chahiye.
No, because they're really fighting an inner battle.
Yeah,
because they are unlearning and they have a lot to unlearn, and conditioning हुई हुई है, उसको खत्म करना है और नया ये तरीका सीखना है.
Yeah,
it's a struggle, I feel. Yeah.
I had one talk with my husband where I was like, oh my God, mind blown. This is what they think. A friend of ours was ending her marriage and he was like, it could have worked, blah, 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 blah. I was like, Arslan, when we get married, it's end game for us. this is it for us. Like, we go Tan Man Dhan is not just a song. It's literally what we've been told to believe, and we believe in that. Now we're partners. Now we're going to be together. We're going to make this work. How do you guys get into the marriage? And it's like, meh. I was like, what? Like, you got into marriage with me like with a meh? Meanwhile, I'm like, we're going to build a life together. He's like, honestly speaking, Huma, men have way societal and everything, and there's the cheating that happens, and there's this absence and ghosting, and all of this happens. So if this all is happening, this is normal for them, and for us, what's normal is to be the perfect bahu, to be the perfect wife, to be the hot wife, to be a perfect mom, and also have something of a career and be a socialite and all of this. So there's an imbalance, but for them, you're right, कि उनको तो unlearn करना है what they've been used to, and also their childhood trauma. We talk.
Yes.
They don't want to. There are so many estranged father-son relationships.
Oh yeah.
That
Daddy
they don't
issues.
want to. They उनके ज़्यादा हैं.
बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. बहुत ज़्यादा हैं.
Yeah. So we honestly, this is the first time I'm saying that, but we had a very roller coaster marriage. There was a lot of ups, but there was a lot of downs as well. There were times where I was like, you know what, I can't do it. And I have the privilege to have a dad who would be like, ask questions later, first let the daughter in. Not every woman has that. So I had walked out on him because there were things that I had drawn the line, that this is not going to happen. And he didn't understand कि भाई मैं किस तरह fix करूँ. He wanted me to stay, but he didn't know how not to do what I'm telling him to do. पता नहीं क्या मसला था. So I had to convince him first to accept there's an issue, then seek help. And I was like, I can't be your therapist. I'm too involved in this, yaar. Like, नहीं हो सकती मैं therapist तुम्हारी. And for a man to admit that I need help, I salute him. I love him for that. If your husband is going to therapy, salam in लोगों को. Although that's the bare minimum.
It's the bare minimum, but for men to accept that they need to figure out their emotional side, they need to be vulnerable in front of someone.
Yeah.
It's such a big deal.
Big thing.
Yeah.
And also to normalize this as well, ना कि भाई it's okay to seek help. And पहले तो आदमी अपनी बीवियों को ही ऊपर करते ना कि तुम्हारी वजह से हो रहा है, मैं तो ऐसा हूँ ही नहीं, मैं तो सही था, सब कुछ था. But when you get married, marriage is a work 24/7.
Yes,
like you can't एक बंदा अपने 200% दे और आप अपना 10%. It's unfair.
No.
That woman's gonna crash, which is what happened to me. So he took therapy, and then we took couples counseling as well. Allah ka shukr hai, Arslan got open to the idea that yes, we do. You tell me how to fix this and I'll fix it. Rather than मुझे तो fixing की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तुम्हें ही मसले हैं, तुम्हारे एंजाइटी के मसले हैं. कह सकता था ना, मैं वनरेबल थी कि तुम्हारे एंजाइटी के स्पेल्स नहीं ख़त्म होते, हमारे डिप्रेशन के स्पेल्स नहीं ख़त्म होते हैं, तो यू डोंट टेक अ डिसीजन एंड स्टिक टू इट एंड you're so all over the place. I know these are my flaws, and I apologized to him, and he's like, you don't apologize. But that's counseling and therapy which has made us reach to first year of our marriage where we're comfortably okay with each other. And we've been married for 8 years. Imagine that. 7 years of roller coaster, 2 pregnancies, 1 miscarriage, my decisions of career, his decisions of careers, all of that. Had he not said yes to therapy or counseling, I don't think I would have stayed. I wouldn't have wanted my daughters to see this as normal. कि यार माँ बाप बात ही नहीं कर रहे आपस में, and you normal है. Then you mess up the kids. And I when I like I told you in my previous relationship, I've been very matter of factly कि भाई खत्म तो खत्म. So I would have gone to him as like, we can't do this to our daughters. It's not working out. It's okay. You have your way of life. I have my way of life. I have certain expectations. You have certain expectations. Not working.
We can part ways. Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
You can visit the girls. मैं किया हुआ है. I've been 9 months pregnant and gone crying to a lawyer's office and said, "Okay, how do I go?" And he's like, "Okay, you need water and tissues," which are sweet sa tha. And he's like, "You can't right now do anything, but after you've delivered 3 months is the time." And then there's this process of going through it. So I'm not going to hide away the fact that we almost broke, or there could be a possibility, khuda na khasta, that it doesn't work out. That's not going to stop me. That's not going to stop him or our kids. What we can do is at least make it better for our kids and just go with it.
Yeah.
You know, nobody talks about this कि भाई आदमी को भी work put in करना पड़ेगा.
Yeah. And आपने couples therapy की बात की. People don't even think of it as an option, right? Yeah. It's either like you stay in that toxic situation, you stay married in that toxic situation, or you walk out. But the thing is, if you take some couples therapy, you can change how the dynamics of your relationship.
Yeah.
You can change that toxicity. You can unlearn. You can work on your issues together with the help of a therapist.
Yeah.
And make things work.
Yeah.
But लोगों का ये कि ना वो थेरेपी लेते हैं, पाकिस्तान में तो स्पेशली दूर दूर तक कपल्स थेरेपी का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है, लेकिन वो डिवोर्स भी नहीं लेते.
And that's toxic.
Yeah, so they remain in those really toxic circumstances. और वही बात है कि बच्चे भी वही सीख रहे हैं, and then that becomes their idea of marriage and idea of love and everything, and you know.
It's an abusive
cycle.
वैसे even if your man has issues or not, I don't want everyone going saying तुम्हारे अंदर issues है. But honestly, Pakistani men who I've met, who I've known, who I've grown up with, even my old brother or Arslan or Altamash, all these men that I've seen do have some underlying issues that they just don't want to register.
Yeah, they don't want
Acceptance ही नहीं है कि हम में कुछ गलती भी हो सकती है या हमने तो emotional होना ही नहीं है. But you need to be emotionally intelligent enough to raise children and, you know, to bring them in this world, or to have a wife and work on that partnership together. कोई बात ही नहीं करता ना. आदमी क्या बोलेगा कि मैं थेरेपी ले रहा हूँ, ये पागल है, ये थेरेपी ले रहा है, इसकी बीवी पागल है इसलिए इसने थेरेपी लेनी शुरू कर दी. बट आई न्यू, आई कुड सी द साइंस, आई कुड अंडरस्टैंड दैट ही इज़ नॉट प्रोसेसिंग इमोशंस, ही acts out in a certain way. There was these hints that I could see कि एकदम से insecurity निकलती थी और फिर ख़त्म हो जाती थी कि no, I'm not insecure. But he had that feeling ना, insecurity तो कहीं ना कहीं थी. And so to accept that and then speak, like you said, to someone random and tell them about it.
Be vulnerable in front of them.
Yeah. And couples counselor में तो आपकी बीवी आपकी धज्जियाँ उड़ा रही होती हैं, आप उनकी धज्जियाँ उड़ा रहे होते, तो वो भी एक डर होता है कि ये बंद कमरे वाली बात हम कैसे किसी को.
It takes a lot of courage, Huma.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah. But we were like, हमारा था कि we need to fix this. This cannot go on for life. Either we go towards fixing this, and if it still doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to be. We're going to give it our all. And so, Allah ka shukr, we worked towards it. 2 couples therapists we found. Arslan took 3 therapists differently. I was on therapy all of a sudden because mere to anxiety issues the, and I was aware of them. Karte karate, we have reached where we are right now, where we're solid.
That's good.
Yeah, solid, alhamdulillah. But कुछ भी हो सकता है.
कुछ भी हो सकता है. It's never like this.
It's all
you can be in your best place, but and I think it takes that awareness in you as well कि फिर से आएगा down.
बिल्कुल.
There's never an up all the time. There's never a high all the time. The low will come. Yeah, you just have to know that when the low comes, I have to remember this, that the high will also come.
The high will come.
Yeah, and I will get up. Yeah. I will get up. I'm waiting for that low. It will come someday. I'm going to enjoy the high right now, but when that low comes, I will get up.
You'll get through it.
Yeah.
My name was Homa. तो अम्मी अबू कहते थे कि small blue mythical bird that flies higher than the Shaheen, और जिसके सर पे बैठ जाए वो बादशाह बन जाए. Arslan तो नहीं बना बादशाह, but his name means शेर. Okay, so he must be a बादशाह. But then I had one of the followers who had done like PhD in names and all of this, and LinkedIn profile भेजी उसने मुझे अपनी कि, you know, I know what I'm talking about. She's like, your name means Phoenix. I was like, no, it's this. She's like, no, it means Phoenix. And, you know, you rise and then you burst into flames and you become to ashes and you reborn again.
Yeah.
It's like, that explains so much of my life. My life is literally like एक होता है ना normal chart. Like I say to my sister, she's still this. Mine is this. So when I'm down, it is bad.
It's ashes.
It's yes, ashes being peed upon wala ashes. It's so dark. It's so bad. But I have learned that the darkness or the failure is there for a reason. I'm going to learn from it.
Yeah.
So if I'm stuck somewhere, I'm not finding some direction, again I ask God, you have shown me it works out. Just show me quicker, please. Just a little quicker.
इतना patience नहीं है.
And I'm the most impatient person. So Arslan and Allah really tested me with patience. And now I've learned to वो तवक्कुल वाली जो बात है ना कि यार अम्मी अल्लाह ताला बेहतर जानता है. मैं जिद नहीं, you know, like your parents.
He's gonna handle it, and he knows the better time to handle it.
Yeah. Like अभी जो Cannes Lions के CAB I applied twice as well पहले. दोनों दफ़ा रिजेक्शन है. I had the most awards than all of those CAB. So क्यों नहीं हुआ? कि मेरे अल्लाह ताला ने बोला था यही टाइम है.
Tell me the story about Cannes.
Cannes Lion is Oscars of advertising.
ठीक है.
वो फिल्मी फेस्टिवल डे कान होता है ना, उसके बाद हमारा Cannes Lions होता है. एंड ऑल द एडवर्टाइजिंग हीरोज एंड बर्गर किंग के मार्केटिंग हेड्स और जोसी पॉल हु स्टार्टेड शेयर द लोड. Ariel ka.
Ariel. I've talked about that campaign so many times on my podcast because I was part of that campaign.
Oh, nice. So he started that in India.
It was an excellent campaign.
And meeting him, हम ना, it was like मेरे सर पे हाथ फेर दे please साहब. And he's like तुम तो अली के साथ काम करती यार. And you know, he was like, you should collaborate. हमारी तो insights भी same है. Like, who am I to speak to Josie Paul? But so Cannes Lion is that, and I had, like I said, कि Ali Rez would be the one giving all our campaigns to awards and everything. Because my mind had been groomed to think about socially impactful campaign. Usually you get a lot of ideas, sadly, on commode. Sorry to say that.
No, it's true.
As mothers, you spend most time कि यार please यहाँ पे नहीं touch करना. Let me be
Sometimes,
here.
especially when you're a first time mom, you know, बिल्कुल ही नए टाइम में तो it's the best time of the day for you.
है ना कि सुबह सुबह उठ गए, बच्चा सो रहे, यार I'll get some time alone. So you take your phone, you're scrolling, you're chilling and everything.
I know what you mean, huh?
And honestly, for me, if I can say that, smoking really wasn't कि भाई वो socially करना है कुछ है. Now it has become my time off. मैं washroom जा रही हूँ and you know this is my time off. Like when I want to relax, it has now become that trigger for me कि मैं smoke break में washroom में जाके chilling मारूंगी and this is my time. So I got that idea on breast cancer prevention.
ठीक है.
Awareness is not a problem anymore. हम ना, you know about breast cancer, I know.
Yes.
इस लड़के को भी पता
I think we're past that point where
पर आप देखें ना, अक्टूबर में हम बैठे और ब्रेस्ट कैंसर अवेयरनेस की कैंपेन हर जगह लगे हुए.
बिल्कुल.
अवेयरनेस इज नॉट द प्रॉब्लम. द प्रॉब्लम इज how do we prevent it? You know that you have to check yourself. I know I have to check yourself. Last हमने कब किया होगा यार? नहीं करते हम लोग. We don't go for regular visits. Most of this. And I did a dipstick test and I found out okay नहीं. So for me what was more important is कि इसको prevent किस तरह करें. मसला सारा आके टांग टूटती है शर्म पे कि यार गायनोकोलॉजिस्ट औरत भी हो कुछ भी हो, you're still not comfortable, you know. बट सारी शर्म जीरो जाती है जब वैक्स वाली घर पर आती है. That's the reaction I was having. That's when you know you've cracked the inside. So I was like, what if your wax wali knew how to breast examine herself and she tells you कि हम ना बाजी, because it's an intimate setting और आप safe हो अपने कमरे में, तो आप बोले हम ना
and you trust her and you know her.
Yeah. So she's like मैंने ये सीखा है डॉक्टर से और मैं आपको सिखा रही हूँ, तो आप मुझे देख के फॉलो करें and you know do that. What you were able to achieve through that campaign is not only the fact that के आपको देख के आ जाएगा अपने आप को एग्जामिन करना. You get your vaccine done after your periods. That's the right time to check yourself. You make breast cancer examination as part of self-care and you form a habit because you get vaxxed every month. And we targeted and I called literally Ali pot se utarne ke baad kyunki respect. And I was like, I have an award winning idea. It's like, get on meeting with me. Oh my god,
Huma, genius. मतलब मैं तो कहती हूँ what genius.
Thank you so much. So I called
There's
Ali.
a reason you've gotten all the awards that you've gotten.
Thank you. So Ali का ये था कि so now अब मेरी छोटी फर्म है, आइडिया मेरा है, मैं इन बड़े अवार्ड फंक्शंस में इसलिए नहीं भेज सकती क्योंकि उनकी हर एंट्री के लिए $500 या $1000 चाहिए.
ठीक है.
And I'm surviving in Pakistan, right? So I called Alia because I know they have the pressure to get awards, and I was like, Ali, this is my idea. I can't apply. How do we go about it? Like, you want me to come on board on B Video as a consultant and everything? He's like, you're going to collaborate with B Video, Huma. And I was like, oh my God, like working for B Video to making my company and collaborating with them. And then we just started winning awards, and I got a shortlist in Cannes. Cannes Lions का मुझे पता है, it's the Oscars, it's the most difficult award to win है. And Cannes Lions and D&AD. And Clio's is something that Seinfeld has won, तो वो थोड़ा सा you know इस तरह है कि अच्छा लोगों को पता है इसके बारे में. Cannes Lions का एक female acceleration program होता है for creative leaders. What started happening in Cannes was कि the people who started this, we sat with them, we talked to them, and she was like, you know, when we came to Cannes, we saw only 3 women and only men, and we're like, this is not right, there are women there. So we started inviting more women, but then we started noticing that women creative director या executive creative director से आगे जा ही नहीं रही थी. There's chief creative officer that happens, right? So then they were like, yeah, we're going to make a program for these women to empower them, okay, go for the next job, or we'll help you get the next job. So, and it's a very competitive program to get in. 2 dafa mujhe rejection आई थी. This time it was 700 applicants, जिसमें से 16 top female creative leaders of the world were shortlisted, and I was one of them. And I was like, me really, like me really. And it's not just you getting shortlisted, it's a 40 lakh worth of trip which was all paid for because they think you deserve it.
You are worth it. Wow.
You can, मैं उस वक्त भी नहीं हिट हुआ कि यार अच्छा जा रही हूँ. इतना सुना था कांस के बारे में. My ex boss went there, my mentor has gone there. 3 लड़कियाँ all over Pakistan गई in a span of 15 years. The third one is me, and I want to see more women going.
Yeah.
You know, और मैं जब वहाँ पे गई हूँ, land की हूँ, तो dinner था, and I was so tired, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to go to this dinner and everything. But they're like, तो one of the girls, she was in LA, Bernice, she messaged me, हमारा group बन गया था बहुत पहले से, and she messaged me, she's like, Huma, I just left, I'm coming back and I'll pick you up. And I was like, this woman doesn't even know me, and like she has her own firm in LA, and you know, why she, but I was like, this is kindness, I guess, and I'll take it. So I went and walked to the dinner, and हम सब later on we realized we all were looking at each other कि ये कितनी अच्छी और ये कितनी अच्छी और ये कितनी अच्छी है. और मैं बैठी हूँ, मेरे साथ एक इंडियन थी, हम दोनों बेनी और मैं थे, तो हमने इनके चलो उर्दू वाला तो कोई है ना, हम लोग भी थोड़ा सा हो जाएंगे. Lots of Asians, couple of Americans, Buenos Aires से कोई आया था, उरुग्वे से कोई आया था, स्पेन से कोई आया था, टर्की से कोई आया था, नाइजीरिया से कोई आया था. तो मिक्सचर ऑफ कल्चर, 16 girls sitting together, और हम सब डरे हुए थे. We weren't really hi hello इधर उधर की, but we weren't, and that was the point of this entire program, is to connect. You're in the same boat, you guys are. Men have made you believe कि आप सबकी कश्तियाँ अलग हैं, but you guys are in the same boat. So Madonna Badger was the one who has sponsored her this time, and she's an old woman who has her own firm in New York. And she's like, listen, I want to start your C8B8 by telling you, do not sit in an imposter syndrome, that you're here because you're filling a diversity gap, or that you got in by chance or something. We have done detailed studies on each of you. We have gone through your socials, we've gone through your peers, we've spoken and talked to your ex-employers. You deserve to be here. Take that space. ऐसे नहीं बैठो, खुल के बैठो कि ये मेरी जगह है, ये मैंने बनाई है अपनी जगह. हम ना for 5 days, every session 16 की 16 रो रही होती थी. Because you're a mother, you're doing this, घर भी चला रही होगी, सब कुछ कर रही होगी. We have internalized this. हम क्या बात कर रहे हैं कि बाकी औरतों का, हमने भी internalize किया हुआ है ना ये सब कुछ. फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम मेरा वेट उठा के किसी ने सामने ला के दिया था कि ये वेट है और इसको एक्नॉलेज करो कि तुम बच्चे भी पाल रही हो, तुम बिजनेस भी चला रही हो, तुम अवार्ड्स भी जीत रही हो, तुम घर में मियाँ का भी ख्याल रख रही हो, तुम सोशल भी हो रही है, एंड यू वांट टू डू समथिंग फॉर वुमेन एज वेल. दैट्स अ लॉट एंड यू नीड टू एक्नॉलेज दैट. एंड वहाँ पे women coming to me, Huma, how are you managing with 2 kids? And I'm like, you're asking me? And they're like, yeah, because I'm 30 plus and I want to have babies, but I'm so involved in my career. Like, how did we do that? How did you do that? And I was like, they're asking me for advice? I know nothing. And I was still honest to them, you know, every day we wing it. You have to wing it. And if you want to have a baby, be 100% sure. It gives you purpose, honestly, having a kid and all of that. But it does bring a lot of issues. Like, I have the worst postpartum for each kid that I've had, and that's about it. 2 karne the, ho gaye, done. But acknowledging that, being talked about that is something जो दुनिया में नहीं हो रहा. हम पाकिस्तान की बात कर रहे हैं. There was someone who told us about menopause, that she was in Australia, and she said कि इतनी औरतें मेरे साथ CCO थी या creative director थी, and then they just suddenly switched their careers from creative to gardening. तो कहते हैं 3 colleagues के साथ ये हुआ. So I went to them and I started doing research. Is gardening the up and coming industry that I should be a part of? And she did some research and everything, and turned out they all had menopause, and they decided to shift their careers because they weren't aware that they're going through menopause. हमारे लिए menopause क्या है? Periods रुक जाना.
But it's not as simple, na.
It starts off from burnouts. It starts off from anxiety. It starts off, and now that woman had now paid people to do research on this, because women are literally making life-altering decisions without realizing कि ये hormonal shift है. Like, हमारे period से पहले हम कितने hormonal हुए होते हैं, right? चलो मुझे नहीं रहना तो बस divorce, you know, we get so hormonal, and at least we know कि ये time आ रहा है.
Yes.
Menopause, I might be going through it, and I don't know that because there's no
conversation around it, Huma.
Burnout मेरा इस साल के start में हुआ, and while she was talking, I was like, am I going through menopause? Maybe I don't realize it. Nobody wants to talk about it. There's no research to support that. I wanted to shut down my company. I just wanted to get the hell out of here. I just wanted to get up and walk out of my house because I felt burnt out. But was the burnout because of what I've been through life, or was it because I'm going through this
internal thing which is, which
hormonal
changes
imbalance?
your, and as a woman, your hormones literally dictate your life, Huma, and your actions and your behavior and your decisions. Insane.
So we were, for 5 days, we were told about these. We were told the power of negotiation. जैसे for example, you're here and I'm a brand who wants to collaborate with you. So I'll say, oh, Hamna, you know what? And I think you have talked to me, या अमतुल से, या 1-2 bloggers को I've tried to help them crack better deals because I'm like, इनके पास पैसा है, नहीं दे रहे तुम लोगों को, you know, I'm the one who blows the whistle on these clients. And you know, someone can, I say to you, okay, Hamna, you know, we want you to feature you and your kid, and we want to read from you, a story from you, and a highlight section from you, and a link from you, and also a quote to you, and I'm going to pay you 10,000 rupees. You'd be like, I won't do it. Like, it's not worth it. Okay, how about 50,000? No. How about 100,000? No. I don't know what time is that you would consider. But if I say, okay, I'll give you 1 million, but I want a YouTube podcast to be dedicated to this, or mera logo bhi hai, or sab kuch hai, which is an unreasonable deal for you.
Yes.
You wouldn't know how to say no and lay down the facts. We were taught that. And वो औरत थी और उसने बोला कि, you know, you literally have to go and say, okay, for example, if I'm Hamna, I'm like, so you want me to put monthly post, you want me to put reels around your, and highlights पे भी डालें, और मैं link भी लगाऊँ, मेरा code भी हो, and then you're saying कि मैं podcast पे आपका powered by blah 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 लगाऊँ, ये सब कुछ करूँ, and you're paying me this. And then she said, just let it sit there for like a fart, like a really smelly fart, and just sit there and say, okay, let him figure this out कि oh no, this is a bad deal that I'm offering her. So ये सारी चीज़ें सीखना, और फिर यहाँ पे लोगों को, लड़कियों को पता है, मैं वहाँ बैठी हुई सारी क्रिएटर्स को मैसेज करती, you also by the way should apply. You should apply because you are a creative director, you're building your own brand and everything. You'd be surprised the stories that women had to tell. It was, patriarchy is universal. To be crying because, you know, the people who started this, wo mere barabar hi बैठी थी, Edie, and I was crying and she was there and she was like, you know, we started this to make it better for them, and it's not better. It's still so difficult. It's still difficult. It's, be it in the creative field, be it whatever field you're in, as a woman, it's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah. Even getting your point across, even doing a basic negotiation, like you just said, it's
नहीं समझ आती ना. So when I came from Cannes, 5 दिन 16 लड़कियाँ सिर्फ ideas की बात कर रही थी. We were getting mentored by the who's who of advertising. Everywhere we were turning, we were talking about case studies, we were talking about impact, we were talking about वो वाला campaign देखा domestic violence वाला कितना अच्छा था Thailand का, या वो वाला campaign देखा Dove का turn your back वाला, ये वाला कितना अच्छा, have you seen this one? And sometimes I'd be like, no, I haven't, and they'll be like, ये देखो ये वाला है, और ये देखो यहाँ पे. So they had galleries of all the award work. Then you had like, they had laptops जिसमें आप जाके बैठे और you can view about thousands of case studies of the work that was submitted and, you know, see everything was happening. 5 दिन वहाँ रह के, और then हमारा basic जो सबसे बड़ा award show था Friday को, T. Uglo came and she introduced us, made us all stand up, and she's like, this is the future of advertising, watch out for these women. And everyone applauded for us. Very good. Wow, kya baat hai. Hum log keh rahe hain, yeah, we will go and change the future. And then the first award, they introduced Glass Lions, which is, आपको लगता है ऑस्कर जीतना मुश्किल है, आप सोचो ऑस्कर ने एक ऐसी कैटेगरी बनाई है जो वो बोल रही है कि बहुत डिफिकल्ट है जीतना. द फर्स्ट कैटेगरी वी आर इंक्लूडिंग विच कुड बी लाइक द बेस्ट फिल्म ऑफ द डेकेड दैट वी आर ट्राइंग टू इंट्रोड्यूस, राइट? It is a difficult category. Oscar introduced ki, that's the same equivalence that Glass Lines had. Okay. And the first award went to Pakistan. And it was EBM. And was basically they had made little girls wearing school uniform become newscasters, और उन्होंने news पढ़ी थी, and it was highlighting how important child education, girls education is. Simple award. My 2 mentors are there, Ali Rez and Atiya Zaidi. पाकिस्तान का फ्लैग, और मैं रो रही हूँ कि यार, this is what biggest delegation of Pakistan was when I went. 8 of us, दो इज़ा भी थी, समीर भी था, राज भी था, अहमद मुस्तफ़ा भी था, and you know all of us were together. पहली दफ़ा पाकिस्तान का झमघटा नज़र आया था मुझे कि हाँ यार, ये अपने लोग, we have made it, we're here. But coming back, I didn't get that recognition at all. Like,
yeah.
हमारे एडवर्टाइजिंग के भी आर्टिकल्स मैगजीन्स हैं, nobody did. I was covered on international online magazines, वहीं पे बैठे हुए, where they were like, you know, we want to hear your story, you tell us. And I didn't want to come here and promote myself. I wanted to come here and tell to all Pakistani creative women कि यार apply करो, I'll guide you, Atiya will guide you, Ali will guide you.
That's the thing. क्या है, आप जब किसी को celebrate करते हो या appreciate करते हो, उससे सिर्फ ये नहीं होता कि उस बंदे की praise होती है. It sets a hope in the society.
Yeah.
That this is possible. They can aspire, they can dream, they find out about it, right? अगर वो celebration exist ही नहीं करेगी, तो you will never know about these opportunities.
Yeah. मतलब मैंने बिन्नी को देखा, इंडिया में गई, धड़ाधड़ उसके ऊपर आर्टिकल्स लिखे. One of my friends, Danny, she went to New York, उसके ऊपर आर्टिकल्स निकले. She's doing live sessions, everything. In fact, बिन्नी ने मुझे अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पे, उनका इंडियन क्रिएटर्स होने में पे, उस पर टेक ओवर दिया कि यू नो व्हाई डोंट यू कम एंड टॉक अबाउट योर वर्क एंड एवरीथिंग एंड यू गेट अ प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर इट. एंड आई वाज लाइक, व्हाई इजंट, am I too intimidating? Yeah, am I not? Because अब मेरे अंदर वो आ गया था कि screw humbleness. I know what
I will blow my own horn then.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I want women to scream. वो आराम से नहीं बोलो, चीखो अपनी accomplishments के बारे में. Because in a room full of men where only 3 of you are there and men are screaming their mediocrities like anything, you need to scream.
Yeah.
And बन जाओ, ये बहुत लड़ाकू है, बहुत, nobody gives a shit. Honestly, I want to see women in more powerful roles. I want to see women going ahead, and I'm so like happy when I see women doing such crazy stuff, and I'm like, yaar, please see it, be it apply karo, please see it, be it apply karo, do it. यहाँ आके Facebook खोला. Now I see you and I do come from a place of privilege, जहाँ हमारे सास बहू वाले ड्रामे हैं भी, तो हम लोग we can always take a step back and say like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to my parents, या मैं अपनी friend के पास जा रही हूँ, मैं बाहर लंच पे जा रही हूँ, मुझे मॉल जाना है, whatever. We have that privilege. A lot of women do not.
For sure, yeah.
But to see a huge 42% of your population just dwelling on my husband cheated, my sass is doing this, my nand is doing this, मेरे घर का ये मसला है, मेरे मियाँ मुझे पैसे नहीं देता, सब कुछ है. I just felt that shift के 5 दिन हम सिर्फ एक आइडियाज़ और इसकी बात कर रहे थे, और मुझे दिमाग के मुझे लिटरली मैंने आके अरसान को बोला, अरसान, I'm not going to waste my brain cells on these mediocre matters. I'm not going to मुझे 5 दिनों में सिखाया कि तुम्हारे दिमाग की ट्रेजेक्ट्री ये है. So stop putting your mind on these menial matters. And I had the privilege for it. But I yearn to see one of these Facebook groups में जिसमें let me and you test this out honestly, and you put this as a case study in your podcast कि मैं और तुम एक one of the pages पे जाके बोलेंगे we want to talk about gender bias. We want people to contribute as much as possible. Photographer हो गया, cinematographer हो गया, people who have gone through this as social media bloggers, whatever, reach out to us. We want to make a campaign and bring a law to protect you from getting your due share as a social media celebrity, influencer, blogger, or someone who has a voice in this world. Let's do that now. And you'll see that I want to see that women are stepping up. Yes, I want to be part of this campaign. Yes, I want to be part of this campaign. But जितने आपके comments एक cheating husband के ऊपर आते हैं, सब कुछ आते हैं, I want to dive. एक औरत है जिसका मियाँ cheat कर रहा है, वो रास्ते से नहीं निकल सकती, और वो उस पर बेचारी ड्वेल की जा रही है. एंड यू नो यू कम अप विद वुमेन सेइंग कि वो लीव हिम एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. इट्स easier said than done. Yeah, it's उसकी नहीं है, उसके माँ बाप उसको एक्सेप्ट भी नहीं करेंगे. सो उसको एटलीस्ट हमने अगर इस तरफ डाइवर्ट कर दिया कि यार चलो वर्क टूवर्ड्स समथिंग पॉजिटिव, let's work towards something that doesn't involve your husband or your in-laws. Privilege है again. I don't know whether this can going to work, but at least उसका अगर direction change होएगा, maybe उसको अपनी abilities का एहसास होगा, maybe उसको होगा कि I'll do more of this, maybe वो तुमसे connect कर जाए, तुम्हारी assistant बन जाए कि हम ना, you know what, I want to reach out to you. And that's where people with privilege also have the power to give that platform to these women. Okay, you know what, you're going through a tough time and everything, and I'll hire you as a tester. bare minimum पे आओ, तुमने सिर्फ ये 10 चीज़ें करनी है. Women will have to support each other.
हाँ, but मुझे इस चीज़ से ये thought आ रही है जो मैंने आपसे before the podcast भी share की, कि a lot of women related spaces that are supporting women and they're doing a great job at it, ठीक है, because women don't have spaces and they're providing them those spaces.
Yeah.
And while they are providing support and women need support, women don't just need to be supported, women need to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why that's so important, because while ठीक है कि a lot of the women who are being able to do a lot of things and get a lot of things may have privilege, their successes need to be celebrated, because again it has a downward effect. So ये नहीं होगा कि अच्छा अगर आपने इसको celebrate कर दिया है, ठीक है, तो जो यहाँ पर बंदी है जिसके पास वो privileges नहीं है, वो ये नहीं बन सकती. वो बन सकती है. क्यों? क्योंकि उससे जो थोड़ा नीचे है ना, वो कहेगी कि अच्छा how can I change my circumstances, what can I do to become this. वो एक बार सेट करेगी, फिर उसके नीचे वाली एक बार सेट करेगी, and it's gonna build a chain. My thing with a lot of platforms in Pakistan is, I'm not just talking about Facebook group, I've seen this across the board everywhere, that while we are out there to support women, while we are there to make them aware of their problems, we need to give them hope, because we are just consistently painting a picture के and आप hope दे भी नहीं. It's just that we tend to support women up until they achieve something. ठीक है?
Okay.
Then we don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Because we're suddenly jealous. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
We will support the woman until she's a loser.
Oh, thank God. I'm a loser for life. Yes.
Until she's a victim. The moment she becomes a winner,
A hero in her
a
own
hero,
film. Yeah.
right? You won't see women supporting her or celebrating her.
You will villainize her.
You will villainize her. And in any society, in any community, if success stories are not appreciated or celebrated, you can only go so far. Because then there is going
But
to be a
मुझे-
negativity forever.
I get it. They need to be celebrated. Who's going to celebrate it?
I mean,
If it's you, you're catering to a certain
this
audience.
is how I'm doing it.
Yeah, I will do it. The thing is that देखो हमारी major entertainment or content consumption from majority of women, not people like you and me, are coming from dramas, right?
Yes.
ड्रामे में आप देखो, I don't watch it. Arslan watches it.
ठीक है.
Sadly, तेरे बिन पूरा देखा and everything, and I was just like, oh God, what's going on? अच्छा अब ये क्या हो गया? अच्छा इसका क्या हो गया? Too much of दिमाग इंसेप्शन लग रहा था मुझे तो. But to each their own. You're watching dramas. आप ड्रामा में ही देख लो. तेरे बिन का जो था उसमें उसकी misery was about 80 episodes and her initial was 3 episodes and her ending was 1 episode. So if you're capitalizing, you see how you can influence. जो तुम बात कर रही हो कि भाई सेलिब्रेट नहीं करते क्योंकि आपने उसकी सेलिब्रेशन ही नहीं दिखाई यार. अगर उसने अपने हस्बैंड को कन्विंस कर लिया, अपनी सास को कन्विंस कर लिया, एंड यू नो शी इज कन्विंस कि दिस इज हिज चाइल्ड एंड व्हाट नॉट एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, शो हर सक्सेस, टेक इट 10 more episodes कि you know she did that, she achieved that, she went for it. There is a conversation based podcast thing that started by one of those Facebook founders as everything, and you know she did call all these people with all their stories, but my issue was with that it ended when she just started becoming her own hero. So किसी ने अपनी स्टोरी बताई कि भाई आई एम अ सिंगल मदर, आई एम रेजिंग एंड एवरीथिंग एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट एंड ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, मेरे साथ ये हुआ, बुरा हुआ, ब्ला 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 हुआ, and now I figured it out and it ended and I was like, oh my God, where is it now? She's like figured it out.
Yeah,
this is what's going to inspire women ki, you know, she eventually figured it out. And now she's leading this life and she's living alone and she's sending her daughters abroad and she's done it. नहीं आपने उधर ही खत्म कर दिया कि I figured it out. No, tell that story is more important than the victimization और जो भी आपका पूरा उसके साथ बेचारी के साथ हुआ वो भी है. That's part of her journey, but she found her strength and she became something. Most of those success, Devil Wear Prada, उसकी misery आई and then she started going to the height and they showed that montage of her height, right? वो inspire नहीं किया. That color that she was changing, she was going, she was telling Miranda Priestley, मुझे ये भी आता है, मुझे वो भी आता है, it's done, this is done, the girls have it, Tana Ramaka. That inspired us, not her misery. Her misery was like, okay, she's going through something, but she'll get back up, like to coming back to your point. So if you're not going to show these women that this is not important, this is part of life, but what you achieve out of that is more important, only then I think we can change the mindset of these women who are like bringing each other. मैं honeymoon पे गई थी, मेरे अपने दोस्त मेरे wall पे लिख रहे थे कि haven't you been on a honeymoon? So technically this isn't a honeymoon. I was like, say whatever you want. I don't care, honestly. Again, the privilege of having a thick skin. Not being celebrated is it hurts a lot. I don't want me to get a Tamga Imtiaz. I want Atiya Zaidi to get a Tamga Imtiaz because she won the biggest award as a woman. You know, that's huge. And honestly, Hamna, I can message her and she'll pick up. That's the kindness we learn from Khans that we want to keep passing it on over here.
To other women, to pass that torch and remain,
करो, क्यों नहीं कर रहे हम लोग एक दूसरे की नेगेटिविटी में ही लगे हुए हैं कि यार इसने पॉडकास्ट बनाया, मैं भी बनाऊंगी, मैं इससे बेहतर बनाऊंगी. अभी भी मैंने कहा था कि यार इसको बड़ा करो, इसको यूं करो, आइडिया इसको मेक इट अ राउंड टेबल.
So that's what I'm saying कि like जब तक वो उससे फिगर आउट नहीं हो रहा, जब तक वो मुश्किल में है, तब आपको बहुत उस तरह का सपोर्ट मिलता है कि करो. बट यू नो व्हेन शी डज
सपोर्ट और इज इट मजे,
मुझे नहीं पता.
Because that's the thing as well. When I'm in that down, there are certain people in my WhatsApp that message, hey, how are you, how's it going, aa jo na ghar pe baatein karen sab kuch, and that's my down phase. And I don't want to think negatively of people, but I've noticed a pattern. Whenever I'm down, these are the people that emerge and want to listen. And I have no shame in talking about whatever's going in my life, because
you're brave to be vulnerable.
I don't think there's anything I should be hiding about my life, you know.
ठीक है.
But these are the people who come out के बताओ. Like I started, अब wisdom भी 36 की हो गई है यार, मुझे एक feeling vibe आ जाती है, ठीक है, बताओ तो मैं बता दूंगी. But I know your intention is not true, because when I'm being celebrated, you're not there.
Yes, so people are suddenly quiet when you're doing well, right? So for example, अगर मैं सिर्फ ये बात कर लूँ कि मैंने सोशल मीडिया पे बहुत दफ़ा देखा है that a lot of women have done a lot of great things, ठीक है, nobody talks about the great things they're doing, ठीक है, but they will find and they've done great, और सबको पता है कि उन्होंने कुछ अचीव कर लिया, ये कर लिया, वो कर लिया, but they won't take a second to find that opportunity to bring her down.
Ooh, which reminds me, ठीक है,
that's not fair.
It's not fair, but हम ना मैं समझती हूँ अपने आप को, मैं strong हूँ. Getting the title right now of being the top 16 female creative leaders of the world, and coming back to answering questions like, why did you make this tattoo? Why did you post it on social media? Why did you make this tattoo? There was a bottle that looked really weird in your hand, which wasn't on close friends. And I'm like, you know, you bring my identity down to this.
Yeah.
When I've been told that this is what you're capable of and you will achieve that, and we're here to give you. I still have that WhatsApp group. I can ask them for anything and they'll give it to me, right? This is what your ability is. और आपको यहाँ पे क्या वो story क्यों लगाई? वो गलत स्टोरी थी.
That's what I'm saying कि हम लोगों का इतना negative mindset है. They always see is the negative.
Even like you said ना कि जब डाउनफॉल होता है, डाउनफॉल भी नहीं था, मैं तो सेलिब्रेट हो रही थी ना तब तो आई डिडंट केयर.
वो होता है कि जब आप सेलिब्रेट हो रहे होते हो तो फिर वो ढूंढते हैं कि अच्छा वापस कैसे वापस लेके आओ ना,
इसकी औकात
वापस लेके आओ. और मुझे सबसे ज्यादा बुरी ये चीज लगती है कि ये hypocrisy है, because I've even seen it come from women who advocate for women.
Oh yeah,
that's the worst part. So they advocate for women until women make it, then we're not advocating for you. Now we're thinking of ways to like pull you down. That this hypocrisy, like you advocated for women to get somewhere. Now that they're somewhere, be
supportive,
happy, celebrate it, be supportive of it, put it up everywhere, because it is your success. If you advocate for women's support and a woman has made it, it's time for you to celebrate it, because that should be your success.
Celebrating women, yes. Inspiring, yes. Platform हमारे पास क्या है, हम ना मुझे बताओ. To give women, इतने पोस्ट आते हैं, मैं घर पे बैठी हुई हूँ, मुझे कोई अर्निंग्स कर दें, और फिर वो बेचारी एक चकमे में फंस जाती हैं. वो जो पिरामिड स्कीम है कि हाँ आप इतने पैसे दें तो हम आपको रिमोट जॉब देंगे, फंस गई हैं. There is no platform for women to work. Or to get
discuss
some
opportunities or work opportunities or anything,
which is why my biggest dream is, again, then I question whether I should be using that dream over here or not, in Pakistan, where you're unequal everywhere except when you're paying your taxes. आप अगर अकाउंटेंट खोला कि मैं औरत ज़ात बिजनेस चला रही है तो इसके टैक्सेस भी कम होंगे. नहीं मैम, मेरे यहाँ इक्वालिटी है, आपके हैं. It's my dream to open a co-working space only for women. I launched it, and then prices बढ़ गई, and as a mother of two and doing all of this, it was just becoming too much that I couldn't do it. And I went into therapy because it was like, it's just there, I just have to touch it, I just can unlock the potential of other women, I can just do it, let me do it. But I just couldn't. Maybe it's not the right time. Tawakkul hai, Allah pe sab kuch hai.
Okay, thank you so much, Huma, for coming, making out the time. I know this went on much longer, but I hope that you enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Happy Chirp. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. It was so engaging. It was also entertaining. It was also insightful and informative. We have such a great way of speaking and engaging people, I was not bored for a second. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed too. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'd love to read your comments as well. I'll see you again next time. Allah Hafiz.